Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Do I have broccoli in my teeth?
No.
No.
Yes. No.
I had broccoli for breakfast. I know. It's so exciting. I had to make sure, though, because have you ever done that? Women have done that. I've done that. Gone in and had a conversation with somebody, gone back to the car and looked in the rear view mirror, and I had red lipstick on my teeth. I walked right back in and I told the guy, "You see this? You see this? You saw it. When did you see it?" He's like, "About 15 minutes ago." I'm like, "Why didn't you say anything?" He's like, "I didn't know what to say."
You were yelling at me on a
Hey,
roll.
Wendy, you got lipstick on your teeth. Now I don't like you. And I went, "Tell a woman." And he goes, "I'm sorry." And I walked back out.
Can I ask a question to everybody?
What?
Do you guys ever use Zippos or collect Zippos? Because Jolene,
do you wanna show 'em?
I want to show it. I think it turned out fantastic. She made me a Zippo, which I think turned out to be cool.
I think it's magnificent.
Now, she did not put facts on the back, but
right?
How cool is that?
She's fired.
Yeah.
She's fired. Hey, I want to tell you out of the gates here, CB Distillery. Did you know, Brock, this is CBD Awareness Month? I did not know there was such a thing.
No, I didn't.
It's also Wendy Bell Radio Awareness Month. So since you're aware of us, you should click the flipping thumbs up button and give us a rumble, right? And then you should probably share us with somebody. Anyway, I'm browbeating. No, CBD Awareness Month. You know how I feel about CB Distillery. You know that I use their products. How about up to 60% off on everything when you use the promo code RUMBLE? I've not seen 60%. I've seen them flirt. They've gone to 50. That's usually Black Friday. Maybe sometime in the beginning of the year, but they didn't even do that. 60%, up to 60% off. You need it for pain relief after exercise, right? You need it for sleep. I can't sleep. I sleep like garbage. Help me, right? You need it for what else? Calm, soothing your nerves, anxiety, CBD. CBDistillery.com is the place I go. It's the only place I go. Promo code RUMBLE. Up to 60% off everything. Do it.
That's pretty nuts.
I mean, I'm feeling the beginnings of a power surge.
Yeah, someone said my husband is a collector and would love that.
Yes, $4 million.
Yeah. That's the thing. Zippos are. I went on to Google it.
Don't you tell them.
I saw Zippos for like $100. I'm like, for a lighter.
I'm like, yeah, we won't be doing those.
Yeah, so we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
We're thinking about it. If you guys are interested.
Yeah, how about you give us a thought here on the comments section? Love to know what you think about that. I love the Zippo idea. I'm trying to get women's shirts.
Yes.
Trying to find the shirt that I like, the style. And
the problem is for cigar smokers.
Cindy, I'm going to be calling you today, just so you know.
You have to replace the guts. So I had to get a guts.
Oh, you had to get a guts.
See, it pops up. I think it's cool. I would have never thought about it. But to their credit, they're thinking about it. And the Second Amendment commemorative gifts were their idea. So, like, God bless them.
Well, whose idea?
It was
Jolene's?
Jolene.
Yeah.
Actually, Tom's.
We'll keep him. He's worthwhile every now and again. The party that knew and did not care. How about all this stuff over the weekend, you guys? You catch all this? Hey, Cher. Hi, DV1416. What's going on, Gino and Mo Doodle? Hi, Rick and Linda. I see you, Stephen G. What's going on, baby? Darius. Hello. Diane's Rumble 9. Hi, baby. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being here. And by the way, thank you to everybody for showing up yesterday. So we're going to try to use this Rumble Studios thing with a different sort of strategy for us. However, there's one major problem, and it's a total deal breaker for me. There's no freaking filter.
Yeah, I got to call her guy.
I'm going to be like, yo, I'm 56, okay? I need a little bit of love.
Literally, that's the first thing she said.
I did. I swear to God. I'm like, technical schmechnical. I'm like, there's no freaking filter. Like, in my life, I get one moment to be vain. That's going to be this time, okay? That's a big negatory ghostwriter on the street, on the Rumble studio if we don't fix that. Right? All the ladies out there are like, what she said. Yes. By the way, we're 2 weeks late for our haircuts. I look like a lioness. It's going to get worse before it gets better, people. Love me anyway. Hey, I love that. Somebody said I'm a hottie. I think you're a hottie. All right. How you doing? If you open the door to that, people will usually step through and be like, would you stop?
Yeah, if you're interested in the Zippos,
yeah,
please put it in the comments. I'll go back later today and look. And if there's enough interest.
If there's enough interest, we will do it. Yeah. We shall do. You can do it. Oh, poor Eric.
Oh, Eric.
Oh, Eric.
Find a legit date.
Oh, Eric.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. And hey, I've got a shout out at the very beginning. A very warm welcome aboard to our friends at Real Talk 93.3 out of Wentzville, Missouri. We're going to be on the radio starting there. You're going to hear us in St. Louis. You're going to hear us across Missouri into Illinois. We are so excited the Wendy Bell radio family is growing. Hey, look, I'm a common sense conservative mom. Right? I'm not pretending to be one of the middle-aged white guys who's been doing this forever and ever. I'm new to radio. I tell you the way it is. I tell you the truth, and that's the story. And so if you like that, wendybellradio.com, you can follow along the live video stream. If you're listening to us on the radio, especially if you're in Wentzville, Missouri, St. Louis, Mo, I'm so excited you're here. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. So out of the gates, I know we've got stuff about Iran to talk about. J.D. Vance going to Islamabad, meeting with Iranian officials, no deal. President Trump putting out a 6-point final offer, not heard back about that. I know we've got the whole Eric Swalwell issue dying over here on the other side. That's good. We'll talk about that. I got to come out of the gates, though, and I got to say something to you all. My freaking son ran a marathon yesterday. Are you out of your mind? How many of you have run a marathon? Yeah. My arm wasn't even close to moving. It's not even ever going to move up to show you, yes, I have. Such a small fraction of the population trains for and gets in shape for 26 miles of hell. And I'm sitting here watching my 20-year-old son, Ryan, at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And about 6-8 months ago, he's like, Mom, I think I'm going to register for the marathon. I'm like, that's great, sweetheart. Good job. And then it was real. And he started training and he started watching videos and he paid attention to blogs and he followed different runners and they gave him ideas. And then he started his own process and he ran this amount of miles this day. And then there was a break and then you should recover eating this food. And now you want to push it to this amount. Make sure you watch for blah, blah, blah. And yesterday was the day. And my head was in a million different places. I've run in a relay. I ran the Pittsburgh Marathon in a relay. I ran it poorly. And I think it was only like 6 miles. My kid ran 26.2 freaking miles. And he texted me with 8.5 to go. And he said, Mom, this is so hard. I'm walking now. It's 91 degrees. It's blazing sunshine. It's so hilly. I'm going to have to walk like 6.5 or 7 of the next 8 miles. And I wrote back, are you kidding me? I went like, woo-hoo. I'm like, you're everything. It's your race. It's your pace. It's your life. It's your planning. It's your plotting. It's your education. It's your experiencing. What is your limit? When was the last time you tested your limit, right? We're told all the time, oh, nobody's ever done that before. Don't even give it a shot, right? And then you're like, well, sheesh. I mean, it seems impossible. Why would I do that? And then all of a sudden you look back and 10 years has passed. You've accomplished nothing. You've pushed yourself to no limit at all. And what do you have to show for it? A bunch of excuses, and then you become a victim. And my kid was like, I want to see if I can do it. And he did. He was embarrassed because he came in over 5 hours. I'd still be on the freaking course. He's like, Mom, all my friends, they weren't there at the waiting line, the finish line, because I was late. And he kind of like crossed it probably a little by himself. My man, you didn't need people cheering for you. You didn't need somebody to give you a medal. You didn't need a photo crossing the finish line. You have it all inside you. And so now tell me, do you honestly believe that you're not going to go be exactly who and what you wish? You pushed the outer limits and you succeeded. You believed and you achieved. It wasn't a sprint. The training is harder than the race. I can't imagine the miles this kid put on his feet. Look, this is what we're in right now. Everybody wants you to believe that this is a sprint. Oh no, gas prices are freaking high. We got to throw in the towel at the midterms. We've got to get the Democrats back, said nobody who's telling you the truth. You have a president who's like, you know what? I'm a marathoner. I'll run that race. And oh, by the way, while I'm running that race, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be in Iran. I'm going to be winning that race as well. Here in America, I'm going to fight back against all of the woke nonsense. That's not a sprint. I'm going to fight back against all of these illegal immigrants who have been living here for years because they were welcomed here, enticed here, incentivized to come here. And there's a party that doesn't want them to go. But I was elected to run the marathon, and the marathon doesn't happen overnight. You don't build a wall in 7 minutes. You don't get rid of 20 million people, or at least seriously scrutinize who they are. You have the ultimate freaking marathoner. And for all intents and purposes, Donald Trump should be freaking exhausted. He should be the guy on the side of the marathon route with somebody holding an IV bag up in the air as he's like lifeless on a stretcher. That's not Donald Trump. Because not only is he persevering through that, he's lining up on another start zone. That's what we have. To my son, I am not surprised. I'm sorry, that's probably not the accolade you wanted today. I'm proud of you. I expect that of you. And you do not disappoint me. Thank you for that. Now go and dream bigger than you've ever dreamed and train for it and believe in it, and you will achieve it. To this president, sir, all these people squawking about you, everybody wants to hyperspace into your head and tell you what you should do and how you're doing it wrong. They have no idea, sir, because you know what they don't get? They don't get the classified intelligence briefings that would make most of us never sleep again. They don't know about the sleeper cells that are here in this country, poised, ready to act when the call is made. They don't know about all of the dirty, dark secrets of the Capitol complex and what you're really up against. They have no idea how many people have tried to kill you because you wanted to run in the marathon. Because all the other presidents wanted the sprint, and they didn't even train for it. They didn't stretch. They didn't eat. They did not care. Big news out of the Strait of Hormuz. No deal with J.D. Vance in Pakistan. We didn't expect there to be one. President Trump put out a truth over the weekend. It is timely. It is important. He says this about what happened, that so we all understand before the media can tell you they're lies. He writes, so there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I've also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. They did, I believe, the number's 28 that the United States Navy destroyed. Thanks not to the UK, Keir Starmer, you feckless little emasculated turd. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end the situation which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly, and it did. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran. Where's Tucker Carlson? Alex Jones, did you want to weigh in on that? How about you, Candace Sweetness? Megyn Kelly, you want to chirp about this? Marjorie Taylor Greene, and nobody gives a rip about. Ann Coulter. Who else wants to chime in? So weird to say that the one guy who seems to be telling the truth is on CNN. We'll get to that when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. Well, they effed around, and now Trump, or rather Iran, will find out. President Trump wants it all, or he wants nothing. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Okie dokie. I want to read you something that I love about Ghostbed. I got a cute testimonial about Ghostbed over the weekend, and it speaks volumes because it's right. Have you ever gone to a hotel and laid on the mattress and were like, this is the greatest mattress and night sleep ever, and then you've looked? Like you've literally pulled things up and you're like, what is that? I did that when Marriott first came out with their super great line of mattresses, and then all that kind of went to pot. The last time I did that was with Ghostbed, ghostbed.com/Wendy. Look, American made, fantastic quality, family run business. Guy who invented the company is doing you a solid for your health. Why? He was tortured with back and neck problems, had surgeries, could never get comfortable, could never get restful sleep. You go crazy in a hurry if you don't get good sleep. He invented Ghostbed. Years later, generations later, still going strong, and gives you an extra discount on top of their already season low prices. All sorts of different kinds to choose from. They also have mattresses for RVs and campers. Think about that. Luxurious. Here is this testimonial. This is from Kevin and Tracy. Just wanted to say my husband and I absolutely love our new Ghostbed. It's like sleeping in an expensive suite every night. Thank you for the ad. Best ad ever. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. By the way, you get 101 nights to sleep on it. Really? It's like Texas Bullion Exchange being like, look, we're going to give you 101 nights to feel our gold in your hand. And then you determine if you want to buy it, right? The ghost bed's like, just take it because we know you're not going to give it back. It's that good. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Get a nice little discount. I think they slap another 10, 15 off, 10% off of. Yeah. Promo code Wendy. And by the way, the owner's mattress or mattress owner's guide is like 3 things. Unbox it and enjoy. That's 2, right? And rinse and repeat. There's 3, right? Oh, poor Eric. Poor Eric. Poor predatory, disgusting. Everything I dislike in a man, Swalwell. Not just in a man, in a human being.
I was just going to say that's.
I don't want to affect all men out there and lump you together with Eric Swalwell.
We appreciate that.
I know. Let's see if I can Scooby through this segment. I've got a lot packed in here. I got to get Trump on with Maria Bartiromo about whole civilization may die tonight. It's all coming out. I love this.
I can't get triggered by his stuff anymore.
Of Espanol background says. That's all that JD Vance wanted. He brought 6 points. Remember how it was a 15-point plan before? JD Vance, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff meeting in Islamabad with Pakistan as a mediator. And then you got Iran there. He's like, look, 1, end all uranium enrichment. Number 2, dismantle all major nuclear enrichment facilities. Number 3, retrieve highly enriched uranium. Number 4, accept a broader peace, security, and de-escalation framework that includes regional allies. 5, end funding for terrorist proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And 6, fully open the Strait of Hormuz, charging no tolls for passage. They said no. JD said fine. Back on to Air Force 2. Sayonara, back home they came. But President Trump on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend. Basically, he's saying, look, I'm going to get everything I wanted for or nothing. I'm not going to negotiate. The days of negotiating are done. It's these 6 points. That's it. Yes or no. That's all. This is what he said to Maria Bartiromo. And I thought it was a very interesting exchange.
They're allowed to say death to America, death to this, death to, and I make one statement. They say, oh, such a big deal. Let me tell you, that statement got them to the bargaining table, and they haven't left. They haven't left the bargaining table. I predict they come back and they give us everything we want. And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them, I want everything.
Well, and what they
have no cards, Maria.
Yep.
They have no cards.
They have no cards. That statement, basically, a whole civilization will end tonight. That statement, he said, brought Iran to the table. Duh! Like, either I am some ridiculous wartime mastermind and I've missed my calling, I should have been a general or something, or everybody else is freaking crazy, or they've been paid off. One of those 3, I don't know. We'll work on that together today. Yeah, he said it. He uses specific words. He says specific things to cause reactions. Newsflash, it always works. It's like my kids who let the other boys in the family pick on them, and they fall for it every time. They get angry, and then they flip, and I'm like, gosh, if you do nothing, respond not at all, walk away and close your door, it is so punishing to the person who wants to get a rise out of you. Nobody's been able to figure out Donald Trump. I simply don't get it. All right, so that being said, this blockade started Saturday. We're guarding the strait. If you're a tanker, you're leaving Iran, you're not leaving. If you're a tanker coming into Iran, you're not getting entry. Everybody else, let's go. After, of course, our Navy cleared all of the mines, as there's Keir Starmer in the UK. We're not going to participate in this. And then there's Emmanuel Macron in France. Well, we're going to talk later this week with other European countries, and we'll see, like, if maybe there's, like, I don't know, something we can do. Right? Why are we supporting these people? I don't understand. And then, of course, there is the implosion of all things Eric Swalwell. So we're going to get into some of the granular data. We'll talk about how CNN blew it out of the water. He drops out of the California gubernatorial race, credibly accused of raping at least one woman. Other women are coming out of the woodwork. And Anonymous, the beautiful meme or the videos that we get from deep fake quotes on X, drops this blistering, I'll say, expose on the reality of Eric Swalwell's situation.
A compromised man is a controlled man until he is no longer useful. He can sleep with a Chinese spy. He can blur ethical lines most people would never dare cross. And for a while, he's protected. Not because he's clean, but because he's controllable. Perfectly controllable. Until the moment he becomes inconvenient. Then the calculation changes. Now the question isn't, what did he do? It's, what do we need him to do next? Drop out of the governor's race, yes. Step down from Congress? Maybe not. Leadership draws the line exactly where it benefits them. Just damaged enough to be managed. Not destroyed, just contained. Because a compromised man in office is in power, he's leverage. And leverage can be pulled at any moment. He knows it, they know it. And that means he doesn't serve the people. He serves the pressure placed on him. That's not representation. That's control. And control, in a system meant to be free, is just another word for tyranny. My friends, we are all anonymous.
So true. And this article in Discern Report today, a party that knew and didn't care what makes this moment more than a garden variety political scandal, Eric Swalwell dropping out of the California gubernatorial race, is the speed and the completeness of the Democratic retreat. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told Swalwell to end his bid. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries called on him to drop out. California Senator Adam Schiff and Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego, both longtime allies, withdrew their endorsements. Swalwell's campaign co-chair, Representative Jimmy Gomez, resigned his position and said the congressman should leave the race so there can be full accountability without doubt, distraction, or delay. The stampede away from Eric Swalwell would be admirable if it weren't so transparently self-serving. These were not profiles in moral courage. They were profiles in political liability management. 55 former congressional and campaign staffers signing a public letter on Sunday, calling on Swalwell to drop his bid and resign from the House of Representatives. But will that be a bridge too far? Me too, up until it costs you a House seat? Is that how it goes, Democrats? Let's chew on this as Eric Swalwell's star explodes next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You guys, I want to tell you, health revolution. I'm so tired of being lumped in, like, for instance, with Sirius XM or the cable garbage that you've got to go through. If you have DirecTV, you can't say, you know what, I don't watch all these other 5,000 suck channels. I watch 5 of them. Can I get these 5? Because I'll pay for those 5. I don't want everything else. And they're like, no, I don't think that's how it should work. That's not how your health insurance is supposed to work, right? Somebody who's 62 needs different coverage than somebody who's 25. And there should be some flexibility in that. That's where this health revolution, and that in fact is the name of the company. I want you to write this down. info.healthrevolution.net. We know the guy who owns this company. He's super excited to provide you now, right now, no open enrollment, no hoops, no things like that. Choose your own coverage. If you're unhappy with your Affordable Care Act, if you can keep your doctor, keep your insurance, we all knew that was garbage. Why not cut your premiums, your expenses down 30 to 60%? How about no copays? How about lower deductibles? How about coverage that you specify? You for a change. That is this. If you're on COBRA, if you pay for your own insurance, if you're under the age of 65, if you're any of these things, if you're a student, or rather you've been kicked out of your mom and dad's insurance because obviously you've now grown up out of it, go to this. info.healthrevolution.net or 800-868-6187. 800-868-6187, info.healthrevolution.net. You got nothing to lose except what? High premiums, stupid deductibles, crappy coverage. So that's what I love. I love that. And if I would say to you, I'm having Michael do that. That's what I'm doing. It's not just when Tom called me, I was like, whoop, whoop. Because Michael had just gotten kicked off our insurance. I'm like, how do we get him insurance? How does that work? Because a 26-year-old kid is like, I'm trying to pay for food. I'm not worried about my dental plan. I'm like, well, your mom is. Right? All right. How's everybody? How you doing? Brock, how are you? How was your weekend? You're a little quiet. Why? What's going on?
Well, we had to build a wall yesterday, so a little tight this morning.
So Brock's brother, Tom, and Jolene, his wife, own a house here in Pittsburgh that they lived in many years ago with their daughter before they moved around for Tom's job. And they've been renting it out ever since. It's in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. It's a cute little house. And then this huge tree fell on it. And it was like $25,000 just to get rid of the tree. I can't imagine how they feel. They're 3 hours away in Gettysburg. So Brock obviously goes to do whatever he can. And
Which is very little.
And I volunteered yesterday too. They drive in basically for a day of work, and it's a retaining wall is collapsed and there's earth that's moving. And then the backyard is a total crap show. And there was a lot of work that went into it. And at the end of it, my goodness, the wall that you and Tom's friend Russell rebuilt, it was better than the original version of it. It was really, don't you ever need to get out and sweat?
That's what I needed. I needed it.
So
I
Tom,
actually texted him, thanks for letting me do manual labor where I didn't have to think.
Look, and this is a natural thing for me to do this. Brock, don't go anywhere.
Tell me what to do.
Right? Blood Flow 7. This is the game changer. And Brock drinks this every day. This is what he drinks. Blood Flow 7 Nitro Triple XL. Again, these products are on the bloodflow7.com/Wendy website. And you get 30% off of all of these things. Pennies on the day. This is what I take. An increase of nitric oxide in your body opens up your blood vessels, so blood flow improves by more than 60%. It matters when you're doing heavy labor and you moved, I don't know, guys, these huge rocks. How heavy are these rocks? These like wall stones, you know, the ones that have to they fit into each other. They fit into each other. Well, that was a bit of an exaggeration, but they were pretty big.
No, they're about that high, about that long.
Okay. You were holding them, so that's true.
I was carrying them up and down. And
if Jolene has the picture of what they look like finished product, I wish she would send them to us because it was quite a project. But it's so nice to see something that needs to be done and to get a team together. Nobody said anything. Like, we weren't talking. I was in the backyard. Jolene was running in and out. You guys were building the wall. All the dirt and the waste I was taking from the backyard, I'd bring to them, and they would dump it in this wall that they were building. They needed to fortify it. It all worked. Somehow it all worked out. And there was a cold one at the end of it. I mean, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I'm just going to say I had not eaten yesterday before we did that. And I powered through it. I'm just going to say this has changed my life. This has changed my life. Alpha Gold Male for men. Testosterone has to do with the man boobs, your body squish. You don't want the dad bod. It's
I didn't feel tired until I got home and stopped working.
This for dudes is called Alpha Gold Male. This is also for men, but bloodflow7.com/Wendy. You're welcome. So welcome. Honestly, you're going to love me as much as everybody else does soon.
Well,
whatever the hell
we
that
should probably
Jolene's
get
sending me
everybody
the
else's.
picture.
We should probably get everybody else's opinion.
She's got the picture. I love it. By the way, Brock, why did you play that song as the bumper music today? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program.
It's just a good song.
Just a good song. It has nothing to do with the
you being 2 weeks over a hairdo and it's everywhere.
About the big Bertha hairstyle I've got going on. All right, so Eric Swalwell's political survival involves him now being the Democrat Party's useful idiot. Now, we could argue that he's always been their useful idiot, but think about Eric Swalwell. Think about the bribery and blackmail industrial complex that is most assuredly the DC Beltway. It is Capitol Hill. It's based on, I have dirt on you, and if you don't do what I want, I'm going to drop it and you're going to be exposed. That's all it is. This is how Republicans can canoodle with Democrats after hours, how they can all be buddy-buddy, because it seems like aside from the scant few, most are dirty, most have a number, and most know it, right? Eric Swalwell, clearly. They had Fang Fang forever, right? You're going to bang a Chinese spy. Right? And I'm sure it's good, but you should totally be on the House Intelligence Committee. That makes perfect sense. You should be entrusted with some of the deepest, darkest secrets our government knows, because thank God you're banging a Chinese spy. Other than that, and I'm sure that's fine. The stuff about him is really tragic, and we need to talk about it. CNN breaking the story, breaking the interview with this woman who said that Eric Swalwell raped her, that she had a sexual encounter with him that she had not wanted years prior, and kind of admittedly foolishly didn't realize that he was still a predator until she woke up in his bed naked and bleeding. And it is a very disturbing story. And I apologize for sharing it with you, but it is what we have to do. So before we play the sound from CNN, I know that 4 women at a minimum have detailed horrific sexual assault and misconduct claims against Eric Swalwell, including this ex-staffer who alleges he raped her. And the walls closed in. The machine had to move quickly. But whether or not they pull the plug on his congressional career remains to be seen. Let's listen to the CNN interview with the alleged victim, who says this anonymously. She's blacked out in the video.
I decided to ask him to meet me for a drink. And I did this because I was so far removed from what had happened in 2019. I felt safe because I was established, I had a partner, I felt more secure that I could have a strictly professional relationship with this person. After that bar closed, we went to another. I went to the bathroom, and I don't remember anything after that.
You don't remember anything?
I remember the next day, I can see flashes of that evening, of him on top of me pushing him off, him grabbing me. It was a lot more aggressive. It was aggressive.
Did you say no?
Yes, I said no. In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no.
And what did he do?
He didn't stop.
He didn't stop. And you woke up the next morning?
I woke up the next morning naked, alone in his hotel room. I, for a moment, didn't even know I was in his hotel room. That's how intoxicated I was. And I called my mom, the only person I could think that could help me.
And we were able to corroborate that by speaking with friends and family she confided in, reviewing photos and screenshots of contemporaneous text messages. And we also reviewed a message from her medical provider the week after she received the pregnancy and STD tests, calling her a, quote, survivor.
So Swalwell, back in 2018, November, tweeted out this, and this is right on the heels of Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation as Supreme Court Justice, after they tried to Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas him with Christine Blasey Ford, who clearly was a nutcase, but had suffered something in her life, just not by the hands of Kavanaugh. Eric Swalwell tweeted out this 11/17/18, so November 17th of 2018. Support survivors, believe survivors, we are with you. What a throwaway thing. Believe survivors, support survivors. Just opened the door to an entire universe of Me Too nonsense, which, by the way, I spoke out about, right? And made headlines here in Pittsburgh because I was like, believe all women. Does anybody out there believe that that is an open door to Pandora's box? As a mom of 5 sons, I can tell you I sure see calamity on the horizon. And now it's so curious that we should believe survivors and support survivors, just not those who say what they say about Eric Swalwell. Well, his BFF, Adam Schiff, scumbag senator that he is, who is the conduit from Clapper and Clinton and Obama with Russiagate, the whole nonsense of that. Swalwell was Schiff's right-hand leaker. Well, it's interesting how Schiff is now handling this situation. ConservativeTreehouse.com, Adam Schiff disavows his faithful sidekick, Eric Swalwell. Now, I'm going to read you what Adam Schiff tweeted out, but I'm interested in if you notice what he never says, the 2 words that he never says. Adam Schiff writes, I have read the San Francisco Chronicle's account. He's responding to this from the San Francisco Chronicle, which also busted this open with CNN. And it says, a woman who worked for nearly 2 years for Representative Eric Swalwell, a leading candidate for California governor, said she had sexual encounters with him while he was her boss and alleged he twice sexually assaulted her when she was too intoxicated to consent. To which Adam Schiff retweets this. Says, I have read the San Francisco Chronicle's account, and I am deeply distressed by its allegations. This woman was brave to come forward, and we should take her story seriously. I am withdrawing my endorsement immediately and believe he should withdraw from the race. Who, Schiff? Who? Why don't you say his name? Say his name. Say his name. Adam Schiff, you little twerp. So curious. I'm going to distance myself from you. Normally, we'd be taking selfies, or if you were Ruben Gallego, the Democrat senator from Arizona, you'd be taking a safari with Adam Schiff, or Eric Swalwell, rather, on during 2020, during the COVID shutdown, without your shirt on, talking about how tough you are. Now even Ruben Gallego's come out and like, yeah, sorry, bro, can't deal with this. Now, these are not profiles in moral courage, obviously. These are profiles in political liability management. And if the Democrat Party does anything well, it's excise a cancer that it needs to, or repurpose it and move it somewhere else in the body politic to infect that area. Whether or not they actually yank him from his seat, I don't know. They should. 100%. I don't know how you could say, well, that's conduct unbecoming a governor. But here in Congress, what the hell? We're having anal sex in Senate conference rooms and taking pictures to prove it, right? This is Kevin McCarthy. He's on with ABC's Jonathan Karl, Donna Brazil. Look, everybody on Capitol Hill, Kevin McCarthy says, knows to keep young staffers away from Eric Swalwell. Listen to McCarthy take a swing at Matt Gaetz, who effectively was a one-man wrecking crew who took away his gavel. Listen.
I tried to get rid of Swalwell 6-8 years ago. When I got the briefing, when I became leader with the FBI, Nancy Pelosi was in the room. I turned to her and said, how can you keep her on Intel? Intel is a select committee that only the leaders put on, that you know all the secrets that the members do not.
But
I made a motion.
Was this about sexual misconduct allegations, or?
It was a combination with the Chinese spy and led to all that. Every member in Congress knows not to let any young staffer get around Swalwell or Matt Gaetz. It's not a secret there. There's a reason why you didn't want those two people around. He was the leading candidate for governor. He probably could have won the primary and gotten there, but this all came forward. And these young women deserve justice.
I agree.
Donna, should he drop out?
His campaign is in a free fall right now with top staffers leaving. And let me just say this. As someone who knows at least one of the victims that have come forward, I'm very concerned.
And so I want to read this to you. I mean, first of all, they've all known. They've all known for years. Everybody knows. Everybody covers for everybody else. It's almost like it is what George Carlin says. It's a club and you're not part of it. You're not invited. You're not wanted. But you have to pay the price for it. How does that make sense? It doesn't. But the machine is allowing this to happen, and they do move quickly, if anything. You could tip your hat to that. They move pretty quickly. Now Representative Anna Paulina Luna, she's pulling the strings here. She's like, look, there's no way this dude should even be in Congress. She's announced she would submit a motion to begin expulsion proceedings against Swalwell. It's a move some Democrats in Congress said they could support. This is your Me Too freaking moment. I don't know what more you need. You have a woman who tells you what happened to her. You have police reports, medical records that corroborate it. You speak with family members and friends who say, yeah, these are her text messages. Mom says she called me bowling. Yes, it happened. They all know this. They've all been okay with this. So Swalwell is not resigning his House seat yet. He said he would fight the allegations, which is his legal right. But there's something really revealing about a man who's willing to accept the political judgment that he cannot remain a gubernatorial candidate while simultaneously refusing to accept any broader accountability. He wants the privacy of a private citizen and the power of a sitting congressman simultaneously. Representative Jared Huffman of California put it plainly, saying Swalwell's own statement amounted to admitting a per se abuse of power under House ethics rules, sex with a subordinate, and that he must resign from Congress. No political apparatus, no media shield, no carefully managed public image survives that reckoning indefinitely. The women in Swalwell's orbit apparently knew this long before his party did or was willing to say so. Now, imagine if it could be so well known that Eric Swalwell was a snake, not even hiding in the deep grass. Now you can understand how they stole an election, foisted a virus upon the world, and implored you to do the right thing and plunge a vaccine into your arm. Now it all kind of makes sense. Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, kind of odd. On the heels of Eric Swalwell's alleged sexual predation, it seems most Generation Z women want what you might not think they do. What kind of life do they want? Traditional moms or working bosses? Oh my. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, you guys, I tell you about tulip blooms. How many of you have tried tulip blooms and you're like, oh my gosh, my cuticles, which are always dry, my fingers, which are dry, my skin, my feet are dry in the summertime particularly, and I want to get my skin, I want to get it beautiful, ready for being outside more in the summertime. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Everything I've used there is a phenomenal deal. I want to specifically tell you briefly about this. Look, there are talking points about this Blue Calm face serum. I don't care about the talking points. I'm going to tell you how it feels. You wash your face at night and whatever you use to remove makeup or dirt, hopefully it's not just typical bar soap, but whatever, people use everything. You dry off your skin. I put a couple little pumps in my hand and just all over my face and then on my neck as well. And it absorbs into my face and I go to sleep And I wake up and it does not look like somebody's punched me in the face. It's amazing how it works. Your skin looks even colored. It looks refreshed, even first thing in the morning. You wash your face, do your regular regimen, and be like, oh my gosh, this is pretty phenomenal. That's exactly right. Blue Tansy is the secret sauce in this. It is luxurious. It is a small little bottle, lasts a long time. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. This is my new jam. I use the velour massage oil on my hands, this on my face, and then I'll tell you what I put on the rest of me later this week. It is sinfully fantastic. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. So yes, we are going to be announcing a Mother's Day gift box of some nature. It's going to have 4 different things in it. All right. I don't imagine what the price is. I don't know. Probably a couple $100 because their stuff is top of the line. That might price point some people out. I get it. That's okay. But this is like all of my 4 favorite things in it. Pretty neat. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's not ready yet, but I'll let you know.
I angered my brother.
Because you told Jolene
I gave
Jolene
a squirt.
Mm-hmm.
She was allowed 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason she was allowed 1 was to pimp the product.
She was allowed. Did she go buy it?
I don't think so.
Well, then why are we talking about her? Who cares about her?
Well, good point.
I'm all about results, babe.
Good
You're giving me a lot of lip. I'm not hearing a lot of, right?
Well, Tom was still hanging around,
right.
So we couldn't order right
She
then
did,
and there.
however, pull out the Amex for beer at Giant Eagle, which was beneficial after you built the wall. So that was good. They built a wall.
We were trying to keep things out.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. That sounded very discriminatory.
Well, I meant it to be.
But there's some nice lambs
I mean,
here.
I only got
used
an
as...
iced tea and 2 beers out of it.
What are you supposed to get out of it? Besides the satisfaction of knowing you're helping somebody you love and getting some sweat going. That's what I thought. Check, please.
A couple more beers.
Oh, Jesus. You're the one who walked away.
What's that?
You're the one who left.
That first one was refreshing. The second one was necessary.
There is a difference, I will say.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
The first one is...
We have Cozy Earth. I'm going to talk about that later. Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine tulip blooms on your feet and on your hands and on your face? Ghost bed and Cozy Earth and a REM sleep. Oh, my gosh. I wouldn't come out of my room for a month. We've got the perfect ingredients for your night of relaxation. It sounded creepy. I didn't mean it creepy. It did sound creepy. I'm sorry. Oh, Eric. So there's a young lady. Her name is Haley. I can out her here because she doesn't listen to the show. She hears me yelling down the hall because she is the woman who is kind of the front man woman. When people come out of the elevator here at the radio station where we rent space, she's sort of the front person, directs people where to go, answers the phone and what have you. She's 26. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program, by the way. So the other day as we were leaving, Friday, Brock and I are leaving, and I said to her, any hot dates this weekend? And she was like, right, give me a break. I said, well, you know what? My sons are 26 and under, so I hear the same thing from the older boys. It's hard out there to find a woman that you can, I don't know, not settled down with, but who's not a freaking lunatic, right? Sorry, not sorry. She's like, yeah, it's just tough out there. Well, yeah. It's a lot of conflicting messages from the young ladies of today. I found this poll. I thought it was pretty interesting. It was of 2,000 women surveyed. These are Gen Z, Zoomers as they're called, aged 18 to 29 across the United States. They were recruited via some online panel or what have you, and they answered a series of questions. This is very interesting, and it's basically, what's your idea of your ideal life? Do you want to be rich and famous? Do you want to be a traveler? You want to travel all over the world? Do you want to have very few belongings and be a nomad? Do you want to be a boss? Do you want to climb to the top of the corporate ladder? Or are you interested in wealth? What is it that makes you tick? I'm not so sure they were ready for these answers. You ready? This comes to you from EduBirdie, EDU, and then Birdie, edubirdie.com. Never heard of it. But it's a writing platform, apparently. And it says Gen Z women are done chasing girl boss rankings, and they rank their dream lives this way. For years, the message for young women was clear: build an impressive career, stay independent, chase success, and really don't rely on anyone. The girl boss era told women they could and should have it all: success and money and status. But now the trend is changing. EduBirdie asked Gen Z women to choose between 4 popular role models. The results show many young women now want something calmer and more stable. You ready? Here's how young women rank their dream lives. Number 1, 47% want the traditional wife path. Say what? What? Almost half of Gen Z women prefer a calm and stable life, happily married with kids and perhaps a job of their own while the man is the primary earner. They just want peace and security without worrying about luxury or status. In a culture that often screams to want more, women seem to want less pressure instead. Trends like soft life and an anti-hustle mindset where people choose balance over burnout prove that women are just tired. A stable life now just feels safer and less stressful. The traditional path is no longer seen as going backwards, but as choosing a more balanced life long term. Isn't that interesting? How about the girl boss that comes in number 2, 23%, about 1 in 4. Less than a quarter choose ultra successful, independent, and famous lives, even if it means staying single or sacrificing personal life. But while a girl boss lifestyle is still attractive, especially for ambitious women, the archetype has changed. The power blazer still shows up on Pinterest boards, but styled with sneakers instead of stilettos. Gen Z girl bosses still want recognition and success, but softer and looser, right? And then you've got the digital nomad, 18% or 16%, only about 1 in 6 want to be like creative and child-free, travel-focused, and maybe travel around with a partner. This lifestyle looks like a Pinterest life, working remotely, traveling the world, doing something creative. It's very popular online with influencers showing a perfect picture, but really, that's not what they want. 14%, the last number, want to be trophy wives. The smallest number wanted to, you're off the hook there, Brock. The smallest number wanted to depend entirely on a rich partner and not work at all. Women now care about having their own income, choices, and control over their life. But Gen Z women, this group, they just want the goods. Treat me like a queen. That's how I want to be. Guys, 47%. Want to go back to the traditional stuff, right? And that whole girl boss mindset, that started with Gen X. I think the children born in the 1970s and beyond that, we were told you could be anything, you could do anything, the sky's the limit, go out there, no man controls you, earn your way. And we did, but that intersection of, I don't know, being a woman and having a family beats pretty loudly in your 20s, right? So Gen Z women, all you Gen Z men, maybe the majority want exactly what you do. Now, how do we connect you? When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, President Trump wants high-value migration. What does that mean? Next.
So you're saying I can't pull off trophy husband?
I don't know anybody who I don't know anybody. None of the people that I am friends with who ever wanted a man to do it all. Like, you make all of the money and I'll play pickleball and bridge and I'll volunteer at the blah 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 and I'll be the president of the PTA.
The problem with this is how many of those girls will answer that, but are too afraid to say it out loud to their friends, because they probably all have that one friend that's like, I'm gonna be president someday. Like, okay,
Right.
good for you,
Right.
like, yeah. I already played Welcome to the Jungle.
I can't Yeah, we're dealing with an extra slice of.
Apparently, Jolene's waiting for the box. That's it. Go big or go home type mentality.
She wants the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
My girl.
Oh, now.
That's my girl. Well, that's good. TulaBlooms.shop/Wendy. You guys are just going to be like, oh my gosh, I've never paid for, really nice, beautiful skincare products like that.
It is nice.
It is special.
See how I primed her though with that one squirt? All it took was one squirt.
It's like Sniper.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. Okay. Like I told you, I have started to use it in the laundry room because I almost threw up on myself as I saw this sludge. It was worse than the bottle of urine we found yesterday.
What? What? How do you know? That was my question. Were you back there tasting it or sniffing it? What's this? Smells like urine.
Sniffing it. That's just a grody word. Sniff just sounds.
Oh my gosh.
It just sounds grody. It sounds like something Joe Biden would do. Anyway, what was I saying? Sniper. It's great if you've got one of those front-loading washers. It's got that rubber seal that gets all funkified. If you take paper towels and you go in on that, and you get all the smudge out, and then, oh my, it's the best. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I'm just going to say, it smells fresh. It smells fresh again. You don't walk into your bathroom or your laundry room and go, it is great. And spray your shower floor. How many of you have husbands who get athlete's foot? My sons, my husband get athlete's foot. I've never had it, but I can tell it's extraordinarily uncomfortable.
It is.
You spray your bathroom floor of your shower, spray your feet, your toes if you feel the beginning inklings of that. It takes care of it. Like, what? What's this magical product? It's got to be toxic. It's got to kill my dog. No. You could spray it in your mouth. It's that safe. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Okay. So
and coming soon, the mosquito.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's up there yet or not.
So if you get mauled by bugs, and I do, we've been through the blood talk, right? We're going to have this for you here in a hot second. I'm super excited. Before we get to that, Cozy Earth, you guys. Okay. How many times have you bought really cruddy sheets at Ross or Home Goods or Macy's? You're like, oh, honey, let's go. There's a white sale. And Jeffrey Epstein bought them all, but sorry, too soon. But you don't buy like really nice sheets. I've never had nice sheets until the day Cozy Earth got in touch with us. The smartest thing they ever did was send me a pair of free sheets. And I washed them and I put them on our king size bed. And I was like, sheets, schmeats. And then I laid on them and was like, are you flipping kidding me? And I used our promo code and I've bought sheets for every bed in the house. They're expensive. So you have to like a set at a time, right? And replace the boys' sheets with the Cozy Earth sheets. You will never, ever sleep on anything more luxurious. Cozy Earth. They're cooling. Like, how's that possible? They're made from viscose from bamboo, and it's like a pulping process with the bamboo, and it's extraordinarily efficient. And so you get this like temperature regulating silkiness. That's like, oh my gosh, you don't want to get out of your bed. You just don't. So anyway, I'm supposed to tell you something. Yeah. Designed for quiet downtime and every day. Oh, they have robes. They have slippers. This could be something that would be great for Mother's Day. Okay.
Producer's Day.
I'm going to have to get in touch with Rumble and be like, dude, you guys want me to talk about your robes? I insist. I must try one. Maybe two, because
Brock would want
maybe Brock would want one too.
Yeah.
I'll work on
slippers.
Slippers.
I won't have to wear my slides.
Slippers. I love your slides. They're so attractive.
They're so luxurious.
Anyway, CozyEarth.com. What's the deal here? This is all, remember, just like Ghost Bed, they give you a 100-night sleep trial. Look, I talk exclusively about the sheets because they're all that, but their clothing is off the grid. And here's the promo code Wendy, Exclusive 20% off. Look, if you've ever thought about buying from Cozy Earth, this is your time. Clothing, robes, slippers. They have PJs. They have cute lounging, or as Brock would say, lounging clothes. CozyEarth.com, promo code Wendy. Promo code Wendy. Or / Wendy, promo code Wendy. CozyEarth.com / Wendy, 20% off. Would you, Howard?
They should send you some like lounging clothes for me. I'm okay with, you know what? I'm getting in touch with my
inner chick.
Inner chick.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tulip blooms. Mm-hmm. I like the Cozy Earth sheets.
You liked getting pedicures.
I did.
You know, and I was thinking about how many people have an elderly person in their life who's not able to bend over and tend to their nails or what have you. What a luxurious thing to be able to give to a caregiver, to give like tulip blooms or any of this stuff to rub onto them so they can just,
Rock's waiting for ghost bed.
I'm very handsy today.
Wow.
I'm talking like Jennifer Newsom.
You took your focus, so.
I did. Thank you. His alarm went off and I was like, oh, thank you, God. Because I forget if I don't have it. Welcome to a moment in my brain. Signed, Wendy. Okay. 5,000. Let's go. Rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, I was watching over the weekend some of this stuff with Vice President Vance going to Islamabad. And all the people were like, oh, this is a big day for J.D. Vance, the president sending J. We're going to talk to Mike McCormick. He is like the one person in any regular form that we have on this program. And as you know, we don't take phone calls, and that's not to be offensive to you. I just don't really care what other people are thinking or talking about. I think we have important things to discuss on this program, and we're going to use that time as expeditiously as well as we can. And that means having very few select voices on. Mike McCormick offers a unique perspective, and we'll have him in the next half hour because he was a stenographer for multiple presidents. He's traveled all over the world with the presidents. He has past experience that ties into current events, and he can connect dots for us with the receipts. It's fascinating. And he talks about J.D. Vance and why this was an important mission for him. So we'll get into that on the flip side of this segment. But I will say this president, in that marathon analogy at the beginning of the program, think about all of these long shot races this president has signed up for. You know, it's one thing to do what my son Ryan did and to set a goal. And the goal seems insurmountable. If you've run 1 mile and it's just not a natural thing for you to do, it hurts until you start learning how to do it. And it takes time and patience and practice. And all that, you have to be committed to it. You have to want to do it, or else it's a struggle. It's like having a gun held to your head. This president didn't just sign up for one ridiculous race. It's completely uphill in the blazing sunshine. He's involved in how many dozens of them? One of the biggest ones is this tackle on migration, right? We knew that Iran, a nuclear Iran for the better part of 50 years, was a problem and needed to be tackled, but nobody signed up for that marathon. No president did. They gave him billions of dollars. They gave him uranium. They tried to deal with diplomacy, but there is no rationalizing with people who are crazy and want to kill you, right? So President Trump signed up for that marathon and he started training. And he got all the info he needed. He learned how to eat. He learned how to exercise and stretch, train. He got all of the tools ready to go. And then when the gunshot, and we're off to the races, it was like, let's go. That's your president. That's like unlike any other president we've ever had. Think about migration. This is a problem we've known about how long? Better than 50 years we've known that immigration is a problem. There has not been a single president who's been willing to sign up to train for that race, because it's one thing to say, I'm going to do it. It's another thing to actually get it done. I'm going to do it too. I did it is a really long, uphill, full sunshine battle. And that is what this president is doing. And I heard something over the weekend from National Treasurer Stephen Miller. And it really puts into perspective all of the different facets of what this administration, namely this president, all of the facets of their promise to the American people. We're going to fix this. And fixing immigration is more than securing the border, which is being done and has been done rapidly and with great success. There's that humanitarian side of it. What do you do with 17 million people who came here under Joe Biden, 15 million, whatever it was? What do you do with the millions of people who were here well before that? How do you delineate? Well, this president has said first, we want to get rid of the people who are dangerous. We want to get rid of the dangerous criminal illegal aliens who have already killed far too many of our people. But then we've got to have a real conversation about what happens with everybody else. Because we do need people. We need people who are talented. We need people who are hard workers. We need people who are willing to run with this president and train with him and get to the finish line. He knows that. But he's inherited a problem that everybody now in the world is watching on the sidelines, waiting for him impatiently to fix. Stephen Miller has such a great perspective. He's on with Brian Kilmeade over the weekend, and he says, look, as the world watches this stuff going on in the Middle East and the ships needing to pass through the Hormuz Strait, President Trump is moving to fix a problem that can't be kicked down the road anymore. It must freaking be fixed. And he understands he's in the middle of a marathon.
I just learned today that CBP says they will soon be at the milestone of 1 mile per day in new border wall. Nice. And that includes, by the way, a water barrier. So on the Rio Grande, they are putting a water barrier in place. There's 5 miles so far, but it's going to stretch all the way across to stop water-based human smuggling.
So a couple of things, Stephen. Everyone said it's impossible to talk about immigration reform without sealing the border. Nobody I know, Democrat or Republican, who does not believe the border is sealed. Leads some to say, like farmers and meat packers, what about some of the illegals here that are helping my company? Which led Mike Lawler, a Republican in a battleground district, to roll out the Dignity Act. Here's a little of it.
It says if you've been here more than 5 years, so not the people that came under Joe Biden's disastrous administration, but the people who have been in this country more than 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, whose children and grandchildren may in fact be American citizens, they would qualify if they have not committed a crime. They pay back taxes, they pay a fine, they have a job, and they do not collect government benefits. They would qualify for a legal status, not citizenship.
So a little about what he mentioned, but here's some of the facts with the Dignity Act. Where do you stand with it, Stephen?
Well, you know that this administration opposes amnesty. President Trump has always been clear in his opposition to amnesty, and I, of course, you know my own views. But I want to reframe this whole conversation, Brian, if I could, to something that President Trump has been very focused on for a long time, and that's about having the kind of immigration to this country that makes us stronger, not weaker. I think this conversation gets siloed too often when we have to look at the whole picture. You know, you saw the recent tragic case where an illegal alien from Haiti bludgeoned a woman to death in broad daylight with a hammer, smashing her skull in one hammer blow after another. That's what happens when you have open borders to this country from some of the most dangerous parts of the world. That's one person that Biden let in, the Democrats let in, to maim and murder our citizens, but there are thousands more. When you have open migration, as we've had, Brian, largely, it was very bad under Biden, but largely for 5 decades before President Trump, we had open migration from the most dangerous places in the world. How do your schools work? How do your hospitals work? How does your economy work? How do you have a society that can win all these great civilizational struggles against our adversaries around the world if you have to feed, house, clothe, educate, support, give affirmative action to millions and millions of people from failed states around the world? So President Trump has said, we want to have high-value migration into this country, not low-value migration. And we have to deal with the fact that we have millions of people here who are on welfare, who are not contributing, who commit a lot of crime, who consume a lot of public resources, and it's in the best interest of this country for those people to be humanely returned home. That's the big conversation. And so this old Washington conversation about amnesty is missing the whole point. The real conversation is, how do we have an immigration policy that makes America stronger and more unified, not weaker and more divided?
I thought that was a beautiful expression of the reality, the humanitarian crisis the Democrats have allowed, that quite frankly Republicans have allowed too, with unfettered migration. It's a curious thing that the Catholic Church is all in on. Isn't that odd? Does anybody find it odd at all that Pope Leo is waging into this war in Iran, that he has any position whatsoever to speak politically? I don't think President Trump talks about the Bible, Jesus, God, or what the church should be doing. It's a curious thing. And the president talked about it yesterday. We're going to go into that as he dropped a truth about Pope Leo, how he's not a fan, how he calls him a liberal. And by all intents and purposes, he's right. But think about this. It's all a grift. This is the struggle the administration is taking on. Much like Trump is the only president in American history to take on the threat of a nuclear Iran and obliterate it. He won that marathon, ladies and gentlemen. Whether Iran has signed any compact, it's been won. President Trump is also the only president who's willing to fix immigration so it benefits the American people instead of costing us. Why don't we have supremely talented immigrants? Why do we need rapists, terrorists, murderers, gangbangers, et cetera, and people from insane asylums? We don't. And let's talk about this Catholic Charities thing, okay? There's a reason the church is saying what it's saying. Did you guys know that Catholic Charities received roughly $3 billion in U.S. federal grants during Joe Biden's presidency? It primarily came from funding from agencies like HHS, DHS, and HUD. $1.93 billion from HHS, $156 million from DHS, and $138 million from HUD. $3 billion, you guys, for migrant housing, refugee aid, and related services. Do you not see? Immigration is one monster grift. Lots of money to be made there, and a great way to steal elections. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, let's talk about the Catholic Church's turn to take a swing at Trump and his border policies. How'd that go down for the Pope? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. The whole Catholic Charities thing is embarrassing. You have the front, like USAID, of a benevolent, necessary humanitarian organization. And then you dig a little bit deeper and you realize it's a front. It's a front for rampant open borders, chain migration. It's a front for money, human trafficking, sexual smuggling, all of that, for drugs. It's almost like people in the church aren't as holy as they want you to believe they are. What? Stop it. All right, MCT Wellness. Let me tell you about what I drink, because what I drink I think is very important. And I think you're going to like it, right? If you'd like to lose 5, 8, 9 pounds with me, I'm going to tell you a great way to do it. One, you're going to skip a meal every day. What's the meal you're going to skip? Are you not voracious in the morning, but you're hungry at lunchtime? Then start your day with some MCT Wellness, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy from Dr. Gundry. Maybe you're ravenous in the morning, but you're like, I really don't need those extra calories in the day, in the afternoon. I could probably power through. You're going to want to drink it maybe around 11 o'clock in the morning. And then it's absolutely going to crush your cravings and hunger and any of the food noise. It's talking to you about Pringles and goldfish. Yeah, that's me. That's going to stave you off for 4 to 5 hours. It's amazing what's going to happen to you when you're not tortured by food noise. You don't eat. You get busy doing other things. And imagine if you're not eating, doing other things that are physical. Now you're talking. MCT Wellness is the drink. This is what Dr. Gundry invented. It's how he lost more than 70 pounds back in the, early 2000s. Kept it off. He says, look, Wendy, I know of thousands of people who've had my drink and they drink my drink every single day as a dietary supplement and they've lost 50, 60, 70 pounds. Yeah. So I obviously don't have 50, 60, 70 pounds to lose, but I don't have to eat until the afternoon. I'm not starving. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. We've got some delicious, easy things. Literally scoop in that water that you're already drinking. That's it. Okay. Done. And you're going to get a 20% off coupon. I know. Sucks. I'm drinking the watermelon lemonade. All of them are good. All of them are good. It's great to be with you guys. What can I ask of you? So what do you guys think? Do you think yes or no? Tell me if you believe it's going to happen over here in the comments section. Do you think the Democrats will allow Eric Swalwell to be axed from Congress? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that they are outraged enough by his actions to throw in the towel in a House seat. And the thing is, he's already on the ballot he's already in the ballot gubernatorially, but obviously the House is all up for re-election. There's nobody competing against him. So he would have to get yanked. I don't know if it's 60%. I don't know how that works. What do you need to yank somebody from Congress?
Wow.
I don't know. What?
You can see the poll on the screen.
Oh, let me see.
You can look over here.
Oh. Will Eric Swalwell be axed by... Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Vote for us. Tell me what you guys think. Really? Nobody thinks so. It's almost like you're savvy and you've been lied to enough and you don't believe anything anybody tells you. I do believe Trump. I believe Trump blusters. I believe he puffs up his chest, but I also believe he's willing to follow through. I don't think he's an empty promises guy. I don't think he will give you a threat and not be willing to fulfill it. I don't. Program. You know, right before the break, we were talking about staying in your lane, right? I see no need for the Catholic Church to wade into is probably a better word. This whole discourse about war. It's not within the purview of the church any more than Donald Trump should be telling Pope Leo what kind of hat thing he should be wearing. And if you're deeply religious and that offends you, I don't care. Right? How about you zip it? Or if you'd like to open the books on Catholic Charities and try to riddle me this, did you guys know that Health and Human Services during Joe Biden's time in office, the Office of Refugee Resettlement, the ORR, that was the money pit. That's where it all happened. It exploded under Biden's border policies to provide programs for refugee and entrance assistance. Catholic Charities Fort Worth grants, just one city, their grants from the federal government jumped from $11.7 million in fiscal year 2021. $11 million for Catholic Charities in the Fort Worth, Texas area to handle, I don't know, refugees who ought not be here, exploded to the fiscal year 2023 to $401 million. $11 million to $400 million. Does anybody else see the tremendous grift that is human collateral. It's not about getting people here. It's not about being a good shepherd. It's not about being, the prodigal son. It's not about, we're going to, blah, blah, blah. No, it's money. Okay, so now it's the Catholic Church's turn to take a swing at Donald Trump and his border policies. Should priests and bishops be impartial political observers or mouthpieces of open border chain migration? I'm going to go with zip it with your political views and tell me about Christ, okay? I'm here to talk about Christ, not about the politics of the border. 60 Minutes, not on my bingo card. Norah O'Donnell, acting somewhat, I don't know, objective, is sitting down with DC Cardinal Robert McElroy, who tells her illegals aren't coming to mass in his district because they're afraid. They're afraid of being arrested by ICE. Well, then don't break the law and come here and be illegal. I mean, this is very clear. It's all fear. Now, are we to be upset about the fear, or should they be upset that they knew this day was coming? Right? You knew this day was coming. It was only a matter of time. And now that the time is here, you're the victims. Donald Trump is the mean aggressor, wherein we are a country of laws. Yes or no? 60 Minutes audio soundbite number 2. President Trump ran on this, Norah O'Donnell says. She's like, look, Catholics voted for this, right? So what's your problem as the head of the diocese? I don't know what confessional you stuck your head into, dude. But yeah, we did. We voted for this. We voted for all of this. We voted for every single step of this. What part aren't you understanding? Now, maybe if you're a bishop, you're a cardinal, you're a priest, you've got the vow of poverty, you don't own your own things, allegedly, right? So you don't have the same stresses per se as those of us who are scrapping to, I don't know, pay for all the needs of all the illegals. I don't think the American people voted for this. Well, I'm pretty sure you should stick with the Bible. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Mike McCormick, friend of the program and author extraordinaire, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I saw on X a lot of Catholics being up in arms with Trump's response to Pope Leo. My thought, and I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, is that much like Wendy's, and we talked about this morning, is when you go into someone else's arena, and you start sparring, don't get in the ring with Trump if you don't expect to get hit back. That's just the way it is. Like, he's going to sit there and say about Trump and his policies, do you expect Trump just not to hit back? Like, have you been paying attention? I don't know. I think the Catholic Church, not the faith, not the Christian faith, the Catholic Church has been a grift a long time. They've been involved in a lot of seedy things over the years. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost for the Vatican and the Catholic Church, not the religion, the church. Led by man is the problem, not the religion, not the faith in Jesus, and not the faith in a God. Man has destroyed the Catholic Church. Period. You can't change. People are like, change my mind. You can't change my mind. Not after the switching of priests to go to other places after committing crime. They're no different than Congress. The Catholic Church, not the faith, the church is no different than government. It's just a different form of government. They protect their own. You want to know why they're upset 30% down?
Because they're not giving money.
They can't pass the hat 3 times in a mass.
Stop it, Brock.
Yeah.
God hater.
I say it's not the faith.
He's such a God hater.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you about collagen. All right, here. I'm going to read this to you. Why does my 56-year-old fabulous female body need collagen?
This is going to be a long answer.
Need collagen. No, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to do this live for you so you know that this is just... Okay, I love Native Path. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. Literally, if there is an affordable thing to do, up to 45% off, it's GetNativePath.com/Wendy. It's the collagen peptides. It's collagen peptides. It's this. Wendy, your 56-year-old body produces about 1% less collagen annually after age 20 to 30, accelerating skin sagging, joint stiffness, and bone weakening. Super freaking duper. Collagen, the body's main structural protein, supports skin elasticity, yes, cartilage cushioning, and bone density, but natural decline, plus menopause-related estrogen drops, up to 30% loss in 5 years post-menopause. Heighten these effects. May reduce wrinkles and boost hydration.
So if you want to bring up... Okay.
Doesn't it just make you feel old? You're like, oh my gosh, I've lost everything. My ovaries right now look like prunes. This is helping me. Collagen peptides, so good for you. And it's so simple. This is what I drink in my thing. I tell you every day. It's one of these. Bloop. Colorless, or rather odorless, flavorless. Easily dissolves in anything. Put it in your cereal. Put it on your orange juice, in your coffee. Get nativepath.com/Wendy, up to 45% off for Wendy Bell Radio listeners. I don't know why you wouldn't. Literally, elasticity of the skin, cartilage in your joints, right? Your knees, your hips, all of that, shoulders, and bone strength. This is, ladies, this is what we need. Men, you too. If I'm doing it, you should do it too. Getnativepath.com/Wendy. I would not be doing these things and talking to you about them if they didn't work. Wasn't that an odd Nora O'Donnell interchange? I was like,
Mike was just telling me that Trump had a impromptu outside the Oval Office that he just watched.
Oh.
They you know the meme, I guess it's a meme. It depicted him as Jesus, I guess. Okay. Healing someone, basically saying he's helping and healing America. What, left ran with that. So I guess he responded to that.
How did the left run with it?
Saying it's blasphemy and
oh God,
comparing himself to Jesus.
Pot, cattle.
Yeah.
I hate him. Hate them all. Oh well. We'll have fun hating them together. How about that? We can do it and be fabulous. Come on, let's go. Let's get some rumbles. That little thumbs up. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Pope Leo, the liberal. Why would the American president, Donald Trump, take swings at the first American pope? Why? Well, because the president sees things that perhaps our friend Mike McCormick sees. Mike is a beautiful author. He is the author of a Substack, Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. He was also a White House stenographer under multiple presidents. He's the author of many books, including An Almost Insurmountable Evil, How Obama's Deep State Defiled the Catholic Church and Executed the Wuhan Pandemic. What's going on? Mike McCormick, welcome back. What did the president just say outside? Is it over the Oval Office? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Hey, Wendy, thanks. Great to be back. Yeah, he just had an impromptu press availability. Basic, this is Just typical Trump. I mean, this guy is right in front of America as an American guy. There was a woman standing next to him with a T-shirt on that said, DoorDash Grandma. And she apparently had a relationship with the White House delivering food. He was talking to her about no taxes on tips. Literally, she goes, yeah. And he goes, and somebody asked him from one of the questioners from the press said, what about this no taxes on tips? Has that helped you? And the woman said, yeah, it did. And then Trump goes, oh, wait, I forgot to give you a tip. And he literally hands her some money right there. So then they had, all these questions from the press are coming on. And then he invited her and her husband to the UFC cage fight that's going to be in the back of the White House. She's like, yeah, come on by. He's such an interesting president. And you can deny that he's authentic and that he's sincere, but I see that and see that in him.
I remember when
there were questions about Pope Leo and sort of their impasse or their disagreements.
Well, I want to know about that because Pope Leo has made comments about the war in Iran. He talks about peace. He's obviously talked about immigration. This is sort of what other popes have done. And this president was like, look, I don't think that this guy should be talking politics, right? You're a Leo, liberal Leo, Pope Leo, and I don't like him. What did you think about that? How did the world react to that, Mike?
Well, the world is definitely overreacting against Trump typically. But the reason he came out publicly and really has a point to make is because Pope Leo this week hosted Axelrod, David Axelrod, Obama's henchman, political operative in the Vatican. They had a meeting, and I personally think that slipped out as a mistake that the Vatican made. It either slipped out or somebody let it slip out. I don't think that was supposed to be public, but it got published and they had to admit to it. And frankly, if you ask me, that was divine intervention. That they got caught with this political operative giving them advice about what Obama would do as Trump is and J.D. Vance is heading over to do this discussion with the Iranians. The Pope comes out and starts talking about how the Iran war is an unjust war. They had a 60 Minutes presentation show on the weekend yesterday with 3 American cardinals. They all had the same statements about the unjust war. They're trying to mobilize, they're trying to divide the Catholics who support Trump from being pro-Trump and
anti-immigration,
or anti-Trump because they're anti-war.
Yeah.
And it's not a war. And that's what he's saying. And they politicize it. So he came out and directly challenged the Pope, and he said, look, I think he's doing a bad job, and he's right.
Well, I want to play for you what the president said on the tarmac last night. He says he does not believe in stopping crime. This Pope does not. And President Trump said to me, that is a full stop. Here is the president.
We don't like a Pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a Pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
So I have to ask you, why do you think did the Vatican have David Axelrod in to see Pope Leo, like the Dem strategist, former Obama campaign advisor, met with Pope Leo last week? And by the way, Mike, you know as well as I that Obama has made no illusions about his desire to have an audience with the Pope. It's almost like the deep staters want this open borders migration forever and ever to continue.
Yeah. You know, and the fact is, I mean, I wrote about this in my Substack over the last couple of weeks, and you and I have talked about this a lot since my book came out, The Almost Insurmountable Evil, about how the Vatican was politicized through Obama, through the relationship that a really bad man named Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, he got disqualified from being a cardinal, kicked out of the church, but not excommunicated, kicked out of his priestly duties by Pope Francis because he was a terrible guy with doing sexual attacks on young men and altar boys. This guy was working with Obama. He was working with Obama's chief of staff, Dennis McDonough, from 2011 on. And one of the things they worked on was setting up the Iran nuclear deal, which gave a lot of money to Iran to develop nuclear weapons, the exact weapons that Trump is talking about. We can't let them have nuclear weapons. That's what Obama was okay with. And there's no explanation why. And the Pope and McCarrick were literally working with the Iranians. McCarrick went to Iran in March of 2014 and met with the Iranian mullahs. And weeks later, Pope Francis hosted Obama in the Vatican. And after that, Pope Francis and McCarrick together go to the Holy Land, and they start having these meetings with people who weren't sure what to do about the Iranians. And Obama was trying to convince them, we want you to back our nuclear deal. Well, it was a terrible deal. And this is why Trump had to go and start this war, because they were using that deal to hide the fact that they were going to make bombs. And that's what Trump is saying. They can't have bombs. J.D. Vance just did a big trip to Pakistan, and we can talk about that and why that didn't work. But it didn't work because he insisted they have to stop talking about making bombs. We want nuclear capability in Iran. They're not going to get it.
Talk to me about why Pope Leo would wade into something. We know from reporting and from the president that what Iran was doing was basically creating a military shield with their missiles and their drones that they're getting from China to kind of give them a defense shield beyond which or behind which they could create this nuclear arsenal. Like, if that was allowed to come to fruition, what the hell is Pope Leo going to say to change that? This president took it out, Mike.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Trump just said to this press group outside the Oval Office. He goes, if the Iranians had gotten a nuclear bomb, the world would have been destroyed. Hundreds of millions of people would have been killed by these crazy, fanatic Muslim terrorists. And what would Pope Leo think about the world then? That's why he said he's doing a terrible job, because he doesn't recognize the real dangers. Part of the reason why Pope Leo doesn't recognize real dangers is because the guy who's the hidden voice, I think, in the Vatican behind him is a guy named Cardinal Parolin. And you and I have talked about this guy, Parolin, in the past. Parolin was there at the beginning of this Iran nuclear deal that Obama was pushing the Vatican to do. Parolin was in the same job then as he's in now. He's been there the whole time. I mean, I wrote a Substack last week. Why does the Vatican hate Trump? The Vatican hates Trump because every policy that he puts in place thwarts their ambitions to have open borders and rush people through here. And they get money for it. They were getting hundreds of millions of dollars for it. He thwarted their ambitions to change the way communism accepted the Catholic Church. They basically turned into the director of the Catholic Church in China, and he thwarted the Iran nuclear deal. They hate him for that. And this is what Pope Francis is kind of trying to hide behind the gospel. You know, I pray for Pope Francis. I pray for everybody in the Vatican that they stop sinning and they admit their sins and confess their sins publicly and atone for their sins. That's how they should do it. I prayed for Pope Francis and Theodore McCarrick to do that. They never did. And literally a year ago, they both died within weeks of each other. And Pope Francis died as J.D. Vance was meeting in the Vatican with
the handshake of death,
Cardinal Parolin, and Pope Francis died like 2 days after he left.
Right. Isn't McCarrick, a predator of young men? Isn't McCarrick being shuttled around, maybe taken away from his priestly duties, but not defrocked or whatever it is? Isn't that the same as Eric Swalwell being like, well, I'm not going to run for governor, but I'm going to stay in the House? Like, I see so many, right? Isn't it so parallel?
Yeah. And, the powers that be are like, well, okay, we're okay with that.
Right.
We'll just say you're wrong, but we won't do anything about it, right? It's the action that Trump is taking that drives him crazy, because he's acting on it. There's been a lot of talk over the years, decades, about terrible Iran and the terrorism. No one's done anything until Trump did. And that's what he was saying right just now outside the Oval Office. I'm doing something about it.
You know, it's easy to throw stones when you have no stones to go tackle the problem yourself, right? You can be like, well, yeah, we know it's a problem, but it's just such a big problem. It's an insurmountable evil, Michael. We couldn't possibly chip away at it. And here comes Bull in the China Shop Trump being like, screw that. Yeah, we can. And they don't like it. And I love it. And I don't think I'm in the minority, sir.
That's what's also going on with this legacy press. And in this Substack I wrote, I talk about the Vatican press. They're not writing the truth. They know the truth. They're not writing the truth. They knew the truth about Swalwell for years.
100%.
They knew that he was a sleazy guy. They never came out and wrote it. They knew the truth about Joe Biden for years. They never wrote the truth about him. And so that's a sin of omission. And, that's what people are out there in the media doing. You're not doing it. I'm not doing it. People have heard more truth on your show with me talking to you than they've gotten from anybody else out there.
I don't disagree. And it's interesting to see the parallels. You have this overarching idea of Congress policing itself, but it doesn't. It runs cover for itself the same way the church does. The reason why nothing happens, there's no change, is because they're all threatened with whatever. It's all bribery and blackmail. And Mike McCormick, hang tight. I really want your insight into the importance of Trump sending J.D. Vance, not necessarily for J.D. to be the next heir apparent, but what it signals really to the world. But Mike McCormick, author and former stenographer for the White House, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love his, one of the things that I like most about Mike McCormick is he's a good dude. He's a good dude who is a strong, faithful Catholic who is offended by evil in the church, the way people who believe in making America great again are offended by those who are willing to steal elections or those who are willing to overrun the system with people who ought not be here, but who drain us, right? There's this pushback inherent, like North is still North. Even if you stand by yourself, it's a fact. Let me tell you about the Simkovich Concussion Institute. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. No matter where you're listening to me from, I'm in Pittsburgh. There is a Pittsburgh physician, Dr. Charles Simkovich, who has very quietly carved out a huge name for himself when it comes to brain healing. So if you've ever gotten your bell rung, if you've been in a car accident, if you've injured yourself falling off the roof, if you were a soldier and you got blown up in battle, whatever happened to you, if you know your brain is not right and you know you're not crazy, you just want to feel normal again, 412-366-3700. That's it. 412-366-3700. Talk to the Simkovich Concussion Institute. Don't ever feel like you're alone. You're on an island. You're unreachable. You're unhelpable. Because you're not. And the things that I've seen have been breathtaking. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Is this show going fast? It's going fast. Going kind of fast. So I've got some roofing company coming over today to climb around my roof. It's not Ireland contracting. I have to be a good consumer. You don't just go drop thousands of dollars on a new roof and all these new skylights and not get a second opinion. So today's my second opinion. The guy came and I'm like, well, I'm getting a new roof from Ireland Contracting. He went, oh. And I was like, oh, what? He's like, we've heard a lot about them. I'm like, damn right you have. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. And I'm like, sure, you can climb up on my roof. Now they called me 15,000 times, confirming our appointment for tonight at 6, confirming, blah, blah, and a phone call. I'm like, look, I know you guys are eager. You need to chillax. Come to my house, get up on the roof, give me an estimate. That's fantastic. I trust Ireland Contracting, but I'm interested in what you find. Right? 1-800-NEW-ROOF. I got to tell you, it's nice to have a guy. I don't have a lot of guys, but the guys I have are freaking awesome guys. They're strong. They know how to do stuff. Kind of hot. IrelandContracting.com. Joe's like, there's a leak in our bathroom above my. I'm like, I know, honey. We're getting a new roof. I'm working. He's like, do you want to come upstairs? And Bob's over in the foot massager. He's like, oh, Dad's not reading the room. I was stressed out about something else. Can we go talk about the leak in my bed? No, we can't.
We can. I just know.
But you can call him 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Oh, Mike McCormick. Is it wrong that I love him? I have to play this audio soundbite for him.
Of the Cardinal?
Mm-hmm. See, Mike's faithful, but he's not blind.
That
right?
Perfect way.
I believe I'm just not stupid. And it offends me that you're dirty. That a lot of people in the church are dirty. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Mike McCormick, author extraordinaire, former White House stenographer who manages to take memories and trips and clips of photographs and other things that he's done 20 years ago and tie them together with things going on in the news today. Mike, welcome back. I want to play for you this audio soundbite from Cardinal McElroy, DC Cardinal McElroy, calling it morally repugnant for the Trump administration to fulfill its promise that U.S. voters voted for in a landslide. I want your take on this, Mike, on the flip side. Listen.
This is simply not only incompatible with Catholic teaching, it's inhumane, and it's morally repugnant.
Some people say that those being deported have got criminal convictions and therefore it's legitimate to do this. What do you say?
The government has a right to deport people who have been convicted of serious crimes, especially violent crimes. And for that, I don't think Americans would have objections at all, and I certainly wouldn't. But this is not that. This is simply an effort to try to bring really a sense of terror to those who are undocumented.
Mike McCormick, I want your response to that. That makes me angry.
Yeah. So that guy, McElroy, he was a bishop in San Francisco in 2014, just as they were setting up this behind-the-scenes work with the Vatican in the White House, with McCarrick, with McDonough. And they set up something called the Alliance for Prosperity in 2014, where they paid all these South American countries to bring hundreds of thousands of people. Basically, it was during this unaccompanied minor crisis. So he's the bishop in San Francisco. They moved him to be the bishop of San Diego. That was the sector of the border where most of the cartel crimes, drug trafficking and human trafficking, occurred over the next 4 years. And then Trump put a stop to it. I'm sorry, over the 2 years, 2014 to 2016, Trump basically put a stop to it. When Biden came in from 20 to 24, it was an all-out free-for-all in the San Diego sector. Yeah. And the guy McElroy was in charge of it. And that's why they rewarded him with coming to Washington and being in the Washington diocese.
It's so gross on so many levels. Tell me about J.D. Vance. Tell me about the importance of Trump sending him. Is it beyond this is the heir apparent to continue the Trump administration next, or what was there more nuance there?
That was a very interesting move. Credit to J.D. Vance. Look, I said he was a sergeant in my Substack. I made a mistake. He was a corporal in the Marine Corps. He was stationed in a place called Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq. And in 2005, I think he was there. We did a trip to Iraq with Cheney. And then we went from Iraq up into Pakistan, and we also went in Afghanistan. Well, that trip was something I think I've talked with you about, where we took a really suspicious helicopter ride over what became the town where Osama bin Laden was killed, Abbottabad, Pakistan. And everything about that trip, and I've talked to other people about it, everything about that trip now makes me really suspicious about what really was going on with the war on terror, where all these people were overseas in Afghanistan, in Iraq, getting in harm's way. Too many of them got killed. A lot of them got hurt. Everybody was there. And why were they there? So they sent J.D. Vance in to stop this Iranian nuclear weapon desire.
Deal, yeah.
And he stood his ground and fought him off. And now they've got basically a war on their hands, and they're going to have to make a better deal than they did there in Pakistan.
Now, President Trump says he's all or nothing. It's like he's got a 6-point plan now. These six things, it's not negotiable. You either sign or you don't. What do you see happening?
Well, I think Trump's going to come out on top because we got the greatest military in the world at it. Look, I look at right now, Iran isn't really a country. They're like a tenant. And basically Trump is a landlord, and he's saying, look, we're in control of your waters. You know, we control the waterways, we control the airways. If you guys want to continue to exist, you got to sign the lease the way we say it. And he's going to eventually get a group of people in Iran who will sign that lease the way he says it. And the other ones will either disappear and be dealt with, or they'll agree to it. I think they're fanatics or religious fanatics. It's going to take a while for those internal factions to figure it out. And that's what we're seeing
play out before our very eyes. I love it. Mike McCormick, thank you so very much for your time. He has the Substack. It is called Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. It is absolutely worth your subscription. I subscribe. It's wonderful. And we always appreciate hearing from Mike McCormick. So I want to talk now, if we can pivot a little bit. I want to talk about the rise of a new Republican Party. What if this fissure in MAGA world, where these right-wing influencers, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, fill in the blanks here, flip on President Trump, because you are seeing an emerging new political entity, and it's going to leave those deep staters in the dust. I don't know. How do you feel about that? I can tell you that an overarching majority of Americans believe that President Trump should finish the job in Iran. That's politically inconvenient. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is next. I want to tell you how lame it is. How much I like tulip blooms. I bring it here to show you, and then I go and I take it home every day so I can use it. I have a little bag and I take it all home with me. That's how much I love my tulip blooms. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. I don't know. I think Mike brings up a really excellent point. And we see the parallels. You see parallels with the Vatican weighing in on things they shouldn't, getting involved in stuff. And then the overarching silence. Like the title today, The Party That Knew and Didn't Care. How many people had to know about 2020? Hell of a lot. How many people had to be in on the cheat? A lot of people. January 6th. How many people had to be in on that, including Capitol Police? A lot of people. A lot of people. A lot of them are writing books right now. I don't know who's buying them, but they're writing them. Right? Let me tell you about Texas Bullion Exchange. I forgot about this, but this is something, and I shouldn't have because it's kind of important. How about getting 6% free silver with your order if you get a principal protection program guaranteed portfolio with WendyLovesGold.com? 855-927-5557 is the easiest number to call. They're wonderful. That's our number to them. That's direct from my heart to theirs. So once you tap in, they're like, oh, I understand that they kind of fight a little bit over you people. I fight over you too. Duh. Why haven't you rumbled? Right? WendyLovesGold.com. Here's what they say. And I want to read this to you. I'm going to Scooby ahead. This gold guide is so awesome. Look, how about this? Chris writes, I was looking at moving a 401k to gold. I reached out to several other companies about getting IRA gold in my portfolio. Most were high pressure about making the deal now. So I reached out to Texas Bullion Exchange, and I worked with a gentleman there at the company, did multiple phone meetings. He explained to me how it worked in the process, wasn't pushy. He sent literature via the mail. He even sent his family photo in the literature. Why? They want you to see who you're talking to. They want you to see that you're dealing with people who have families just like you do, and everybody's trying to make ends meet and do the best possible, and they're no different. So they're not interested in screwing you over. They're interested in making you a happy customer for life. We worked on the gold coins to put in my IRA. He has reached out multiple times, even after the deal, to make sure I was satisfied and to answer any questions. I would totally recommend Wendy Loves Gold. Great company and awesome customer service. And then I told you about this. So Wendy Bell listeners get a 6%, up to a 6% bonus in silver on a principal protected portfolio. What does that mean? They guarantee that if you put together a silver, gold, platinum, or palladium portfolio through them, they'll guarantee the value of it so that when it's time for you to sell it, if you want to, you'll never sell it for less than you paid for it. So it's no risk to you. And then if you get one of those portfolios that's principal protected, which why wouldn't you? You qualify for up to 6% in free silver. Kind of nice. I like it.
And while you're there, you should probably make Wendy Bell Radio a beneficiary.
Oh, what are you saying? You want them?
If your demise is sooner than you expect.
Yeah. So say that you're a frequent flyer of this program and you might not have relatives that you'd like to give your fortune to.
Or like.
I'm available to help you with that. So, anywho, I know Jolene sent a picture. I have not opened it up to investigate it, but I know it exists. Have you seen it? Oh, are you going to show it? Oh, I'm going to sigh. I hate that more than anything. That and I wasn't invited. If we could eliminate two things from your life, that would be them. That is the wall. They rebuilt that wall. I'm leaning on it because I'm tired, but I did nothing. I had nothing to do with that.
Let me show you what Wendy did.
I had nothing to do with that.
Wendy was using what she
Right, here we go. Here's BS. This is fake news.
I thought this was great.
I can see it coming right now. You don't
She
even
was
have
able
to show
to
it.
use the thing she wrote in on to sweep up the dirt. That's as clean as that driveway.
Everybody had a role. Everybody had a lane. It was great work. Having a project like that. See, funny, it's never fun clean. Pigeon toed, sweeping the bricks. That's a good look for everybody.
Right.
Oh, well. I wore my work bibs. I got 5 pairs of them. Right?
You have 5 pairs of them.
Mm-hmm. My Carhartts are original to, I think,
John. They were pre-John. You were cool before John Fetterman made it cool.
He wore bibs?
No, Carhartt.
That's Carhartt. I was going to say, can you imagine the monster walking around with bibs on? That would be a big look. Yeah. Oh, I have Healthy Cell I can talk about. We'll wait for that.
Well, you did take a REM last night.
I did. I took a REM last night, and my watch woke me up at 4 a.m. I went to bed at 8:33. Brock beat me by 70 or by 45 minutes. So he tells me, if we're to believe him. I don't know.
I went to bed at 7:45. I probably fell asleep around 10 after 8, 8:15.
Well, thanks for the granular data.
Yeah.
No, it's good to know. Right? By the way, Texas Bullion Exchange, this is what they send you, and then you can decide. Okay? Then you can decide. So great. You're going to love them. You're going to be like, I love that Wendy Bell. Duh. Why don't you already?
You ask why we still get up so early.
It's hard to break that.
Yeah.
It's nice to wake up without the stress of a time crunch. But it takes probably 3 to 4 hours at night and another 4 hours in the morning to put things together. We're constantly looking. It doesn't stop. So
I keep scrolling just because every time I scroll, I add up $4.
Did she get me all the pictures too? Oh, Jolene. Did she mean to send the same picture 52 times?
I was wondering the same thing. Wow. Criticize even for sending a picture you asked for.
3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
So how do you spin a story that America is upset about something that you're doing that America is not upset about? I know, right? A little Monday headache for the brain there. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. A delight to be with you. Hey, by the way, if you haven't downloaded our podcast onto your phone, what are you waiting for? WendyBellRadio.com. Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We are just a sneeze away from 8 million podcast downloads. And I'm so thankful to you guys. Okay. So there's a poll that's out. You know how I feel about polls. I think they're interesting to talk about. I don't take a whole lot of stock in any of them, though Harry Enton, my once boyfriend, who is no longer, had a flapping of the arms at the wall today talking about the cataclysmic decline of Eric Swalwell. Well, that's easy. That's easy, Harry, right? Let's talk about what needs to be talked about. How do the American people feel about this president and this administration's moves to once and for freaking all neutralize Iran's nuclear ambitions? How do we feel about that? Are people like, it's so aggressive, I just don't think that we should go in. It's like such big bombs and stuff. I don't know if that's a good idea. Or are people like, dude, drop them. Drop millions of them. Finish the job. Well, it's more of the second. And I'm not so sure the left was ready for this. So here is an article, Town Hall. We're going to get into some granular data on this poll for you so you can decide what you think. This new poll on Iran is eye-opening. You ready? Townhall.com. With the conflict between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran geared to restart after these peace talks stalled Saturday night, a new poll shows that President Donald Trump's agenda with the Persian state is quite popular among Republicans. No doubt, 3/4 of respondents to a YouGov poll just released indicated that they believe the objectives of Operation Epic Fury were agreeable, right? 3/4 were agreeable. Yes. The objectives, yes, you cannot have a nuclear weapon. Is that complicated? No. With nearly 90% stating that they believe the Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened and that oil needs to flow through the Gulf states once more. I thought it was interesting as we were going on earlier. I saw something cross the wires that said there are, to the degree, I think, 121 empty oil tankers waiting in queue to tie up to dock and glug, fill up with good old light, sweet, crude American oil. Oh, it's kind of like drill, baby, drill had some reasoning. It's kind of like Joe Biden stopping all action on the Keystone XL pipeline as his first order of business, as our alleged president didn't tell us everything. Furthermore, more than half of the respondents claim that it would be unacceptable to end the conflict right now if the Islamic regime continues to retain power. So The majority says Trump was right to go in and blast the liver, kill out the Iranian regime, take care of these radical Shia clerics who believe in death to America, death to Israel. And not beyond that, majority's like, finish the job. And if that means that an entire civilization needs to pay the price, well, I guess we'll have to talk about that. I want you to hear this audio soundbite. CBS, I think it's Margaret Brennan. I think she is it. Yeah. She's the one who's nearly choking on this. She's like, in other news, a new poll admits that people aren't as hacked off about this as we hoped. Here you go.
As for, the aspirations, Americans broadly support them. 87% say Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened. 81% want to ensure freedom for the Iranian people. 76% want to permanently stop Iran's nuclear program. 55% want the current leaders ousted before we end the war.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is anybody out there really, are you wringing your hands over this? Is it seeming so mystifying what's going on? You've got somebody who doesn't want to play well with the rest of the world. And that somebody has been elevated by certain U.S. presidents who've elevated them and given them money or uranium or power or credence or what have you. And that country, those people, those tyrants, the real dictators who indiscriminately kill people on the street who speak ill of the regime, decide to do whatever the hell they want to do. And in order to do whatever the hell they want to do, they've decided to foist upon the world a tour of chaos with uranium and nuclear weapons. And this president said, no. Not next week, not 2 weeks from now, not like Emmanuel Macron, who was like, well, I know you need our help patrolling the Strait of Hormuz, and I know it would be super duper if we ever had any kind of testicular fortitude and showed up to help you, but we're not really. Yeah, we're going to meet in a couple of days and kind of like kick it around, see what we think, really. Meanwhile, U.S. Navy has cleared out 28 potentially deadly mines, and the president said to Iran, whatever factions are left, if any tanker is destroyed, fired upon, hits one of these mines, or is otherwise damaged, there will be held to pay. And if you think I'm joking, try me. Outrageous, says MAGA World. Look, there's a new Republican Party emerging. And I think it's the natural fall off of people who maybe once along the way had similar ideas to you and to me. In my mind, none of this is complicated. I want my sons to live in peace. I want a sane, calm, traditional world for my children, as do you. 87% of this poll, CBS YouGov poll, open the Strait of Hormuz and open access to oil. 87% said that is important for the U.S. to do regarding Iran. 81%, again, CBS YouGov poll, 81% say make sure Iran's people are safe and free. People who are killed in the street, people who do not have electricity, who do not have access to amenities because their regime, I guess, uses the grid for the mining of Bitcoin to sell to China in exchange for missiles and drone technology, et cetera, et cetera. 81% on this poll say we want to protect the people of Iran. Because you know what? The people of Iran don't have guns, you guys. They can't defend themselves. They're just ahead of where you would be if Democrats could strip you of your Second Amendment rights. 76% said the number one goal, what's important, stop Iran from threatening other countries. What was Iran's response to the president saying, if you fiddle in the strait, if one mine strikes one vessel, you're freaking out of here. What did Iran do? We're going to start bombing our Middle Eastern neighbors who either have benign relationships with us or are basically people that we don't even have to deal with. We're going to go on the offensive. See how that works? And 76% in this poll say The important move for the U.S. to do regarding Iran is to permanently stop Iran's nuclear programs. Look, this is a very interesting time. The president holds all the cards. He has all of the Trump and all of the top suits. Iran doesn't have shizzle. They've got threats. They've got Ayatollah Light being nursed to back to health in some capacity after being blown to bits with his family. And now they're lashing out at their neighbors. If Iran wants to make moves, or whomever's in charge wants to make moves that are damaging to their Middle Eastern neighbors, if Iran decides to turn on the civilians in the country, how do you feel this CBS YouGov poll of respondents will react if Donald Trump does what needs to be done and destroys pretty much their everything? He will have wildfire support for the rank and file American person who tells you 3 out of 4 say permanently, forever, take away Iran's ability to torture the planet. This isn't complicated. I want you to hear Tim Burchett, Tennessee representative. He's on Fox with Joey Jones, who's like, look, are Republicans turning on this president? You've got these right-wing podcaster influencer people who used to all be in his bed with him, and now there's this fissure. And Tim Burchett drops the hammer, and he's like, yeah, no fissure, just you're seeing the light.
Of the operation and are defending it, where do you think Republicans in Congress are?
Of course, you always got a few that are going to throw a rock over the fence and run home and hide behind their mama's skirt. But I think the vast majority of Republicans and the vast majority of Americans support this president, and obviously the price of oil. But one thing you got to realize, these oil companies are sticking it to us. I mean, they've got us over a barrel, literally. I know it's a commodity, and people say, oh, Burchett, you don't understand economics. Well, you don't prop up an industry by billions and billions of hard-earned tax dollars, and then you cry every time.
100%. He's like, look, we're still with this president. We voted for this president. He won in a landslide. That hasn't changed. Media can chirp. Pope Leo can chirp. Eric Swalwell can chirp. And nobody sucks the oxygen out of a situation like Donald Trump. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, could Democrats really dust off Kamala Harris to run now for governor in California? Like, really, let's have some fun. You wanna, iguana? Let's do it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. He was wearing your shirt. Is that what you were showing me?
Yes. His shirt had the little dog on, Smokey.
Brock was he was talking to me through the glass, pointing to his nipple. And I was like, you want me to look at your nipple?
Pointing to my...
You said the word nipple. And I'm like,
no, I did not.
Oh, I thought you said nipple. Okay, what did you say?
I said, look at his shirt. It has the dog on it. How you got nipple out of that? I have no idea.
You're pointing at your nipple.
I pulled my...
I can't see that.
I went like this. I went, look at his shirt.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And you went like this. Thinking you spilled something on you. I don't know how you got nipple out of that.
You know, cravings are not about willpower. Would you feel better if you had a way to get your body naturally to stop feeling like you need to snack every night at 8 o'clock and eat a handful of Skittles? That's just me. What if there was a way you could get this GLP that is all the rage? That is the thing that connects your brain to your gut, right? This hormone that tells you you've had enough to eat. But what if yours doesn't really work all that well? And so you eat and eat and eat, and you don't stop because it tastes good, but you don't have that feeling in your belly. What if you could get that back naturally with a supplement from Juvenon? Well, you can, and it is called GLP-1 Gold. This is what it looks like. GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon, and we'll have it focused. There you go. Support for healthy weight management. This is what it is. So one hormone called GLP-1 plays a major role in telling your brain you're full and helping control appetite. And when that signal isn't working well, cravings stay loud, and eating more than you planned feels almost automatic. That's how you get that progressive weight gain. And then all of a sudden you're standing in front of the mirror and you're like, what happened to me? This can help you. If you've heard about GLP-1 because of prescription weight loss drugs, they force the signal, they force that. This is a more natural way to coax your brain into remembering, hey, I'm full. I don't have to eat anymore. And people are getting such success. Again, this isn't just for your casual dieter, like, oh, I've got somewhere to be this weekend. Maybe I'll not eat so much so I can not have to wear Spanx. This is going to help you. Put it in your arsenal, 30% off. This is going to cost you what? At max, $1 a day. Compare that to Wegovy, Mounjaro, Ozempic, any of those injections. And by the way, you're not giving money to Big Pharma, which is better. Thank you. Wendy loves, no. Juvenon is bloodflow7.com. Wendy loves Juvenon. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you were saying. 2.4. Hey, if we can get 200 people by the end of this segment, then it's possible for us to get closer to 3,000 rumbles than normal. Please. We've got 11 thumbs downs. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. All are welcome here. We're all in this. Just kidding. 5,200 people breaking the internet with 507 over on X. That's all algorithm BS. I don't understand how it works. But I am super excited to be on the radio in St. Louis, Missouri.
You're hitting all your hometowns. We just need to get you on the air in Calabasas.
Am I on the air in New York City? Philly?
We're in New York.
We're close. Yeah, we're in New York.
In Philly.
All across West Virginia. How you doing? I love you guys. Can you imagine Kamala Harris?
I can't imagine her president.
200. Let's get to 2.6. 2.6. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. This is kind of an interesting time at 30,000 feet to watch the machinations of the Democrat Party. So I guess they were very comfortable with Eric Swalwell being the front runner of the race in California for the governor's race in November. So I guess June is the primary. There's really a scramble now. Nobody can step forward necessarily. I don't believe in Phyllis spot. Katie Porter is a toxic whack job. Didn't she throw hot potatoes on the head of her husband? Isn't that domestic abuse? Isn't that called weird? Yeah, and she screamed at her staff, but she wants you to believe she'd be super duper if you let her fail upwards into this. But how does her political star even rise? I don't know. So the worst case scenario for the Democrats, giddy for the Republicans, is that you have, two people who are going to win. That's how it goes. And they could both be Republican. Oh, no. What is the Democrat Party to do? Well, could they actually dust off Kamala Harris and bring her out of the woodwork? See, she fancies herself. This is how disconnected this gal is. And the whole bubble that keep people thinking they're electable. She thinks that she could actually go for it again in 2028. Kamala does. Kamala, who can't sit for an interview and answer questions. Kamala, who can't be natural around children, so they have to bring in child actors to create a commercial, a public service announcement of her looking through a telescope to make her seem somewhat maternal. She's not. There is nothing authentic, redeeming, something that you could get behind and be like, I don't know what it is about that one. I like her. No, nobody does. She's DEI incarnate and terrible with a lousy track record, and she's not that bright. Other than that, I'm sure she's a fabulous person. How about this article from realclearpolitics.com? After Swalwell craters, California GOP jubilant but divided. Democrat Rep. Eric Swalwell's gubernatorial campaign implosion Friday couldn't have been better timing for California Republicans. The state's GOP was already set to convene in San Diego for their spring convention over the weekend. And the series of Democratic leader defections from Swalwell, as additional sexual allegations surfaced, left candidates and activists gleeful and gloating. I don't know. I'm not really sure we're gleeful and gloating because there's collateral damage that comes from all of this and its victims, right? Steve Hilton, former Fox News host and frontrunner in the crowded contest to replace Governor Gavin Newsom in November, on Saturday addressed hundreds of attendees, beginning his address by using Swalwell as a punchline. He said after 16 years of failure and corruption, the California Dems are collapsing in chaos and sleaze and scandal. It's been a couple hours. I think we're due for another Eric Swalwell intern eruption. It's brutal, right? And then you've got Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco, who's running neck and neck or slightly behind Hilton. He trained his fire on Swalwell exclusively, obviously urging him to drop out of the governor's race, but also out of public life immediately. He said, as a person who investigates predators and puts them in jail, he has absolutely no business being in public service and in a position of authority, Bianco said. Do the right thing for everyone in the state and this country and resign from your position and drop out of the race. So even as they needled the Democratic Party over its disarray in the wake of Swalwell's dramatic downfall, the California GOP remains split on its two Republican contenders in the campaign to lead the state. Both Hilton and Bianco engaged in furious last-minute campaigning for delegate support at the GOP convention. It happened in San Diego at the Sheraton. They both signed the signs blanketed the hallways, but this delegation of conservatives in California, they're not really sure, should we throw our weight behind one or another? Is there one we should endorse over the other? And they're saying no. Let's see what the actual voters of California think. Isn't that a novel idea? See, on the other side, you've got the Democrats who are always so damn confident. It's almost like they know the system's rigged to benefit them. And yet the system never being rigged to benefit the Republicans, they're willing to say, really, let's listen to the people if we can depend on safe and secure elections. Kamala Harris, I don't think, is going to get dusted off. If she lost, it would be the end of her political everything. And it should have been years ago. But she's black and she's a chick and she checks some boxes and people think that's great. And it's not. It's not at all. Never Kamala, never ever for anything, period. Duh, right? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I didn't think I would say this. The one guy who seems to see President Trump clearly is a guy who hates him. He's on CNN next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Healthy Cell, healthycell.com/Wendy. Do you ever get to that state of mind where you're almost too tired to sleep? It sounds completely ridiculous. Where it's almost like you're so exhausted, it seems like falling asleep is an effort. And then if your mind starts going, you're hosed. And you're like, son of a mother, I've got to stop this. Like GLP-1 Gold silences the food noise. REM sleep silences the brain noise where you're like, da, 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 da. And I'm just going to say, I took a REM sleep last night from Healthy Cell, healthycell.com/Wendy. It's one of those things that you need to have in your house, right? You need to have it so that if you're tossing and turning and you're like, son of a mother, and you're looking at the clock and you're like, I've got an important presentation in the morning, or I have a flight to catch, or it's a big day, I've got to get my sleep, and you're not getting it, and you know you're not going to get it. You open up one of these REM sleeps. It's a microgel, so it gets into your body faster, 165% more absorbed than pills, sleeping pills, right? Or sucking down some NyQuil. And then you sleep. And for me, the biggest thing is you got to get up and go to the bathroom. And then sometimes I'm awake and I'm like, stop. Mind, I'm not ready to wake up. Don't wake up. You go right back to sleep. And then you wake up and you're like, I feel great. healthycell.com/Wendy. You should have a box of REM sleep in your house. And that's just one of their 15 formulations. It's pretty special. This Saturday, jot it down if you're in southwestern Pennsylvania. Apparently, there's going to be food trucks, bourbon, ice cream, sword fights. I'm just kidding. Whatever, juggling. There's going to be all sorts of stuff to celebrate this 14th anniversary of Morgane's Fitness. And it's something that our friend Kelly Morgan is super jazzed about. And her gym, the Richland location, is open for you. Come in, bring a friend, use the machines, check things out, get your body composition analysis, talk to an expert about the 90 Ignite program. Just enjoy the food, enjoy the fun, and get a reduced membership. Or get on Kelly's radar and get in on this program where people are losing. I mean, she's just ridiculous. It's 3 months. That's a whole different body. This isn't 3 months, but let me show you this. This is. Look at this. What? That's. Wait, there's one more. Morgane's. I love her little behind. She's got such a cute little patootie. Look at her. Look at that. What? 90 days? Morgainsfitness.com. MORGAINZ fitness.com. And the nice thing about it is you can do it from home. They do the exercises for you. And so you get them and you get to see how they do them. And so you could do them at your house. I talked to our friend about the clock. He's going to examine it today. Believes it's the wiring.
What's that?
He believes it's the wiring.
Our friend out here, or our friend? It makes me feel a little better. Since I couldn't figure it out.
Then he apologized that he should have been in this weekend to do it.
And what?
He said he was upset and he apologized and said he should have been here doing it over the weekend. I said, that's right. It's all about me. About what?
I just want to make sure that the new computer can be dialed in, to the internet. So I need to ask him to check that box and test it. I don't know. We might have to do a limited run on the Zippo. I like it.
Wendy is a 5-star general. Wow. What old ass picture of me is that?
What do you mean? That's from a Sunday show, apparently.
Is that what I look like? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's not very friendly.
Well, let's show it then.
That's not. Since Wendy mentioned she would be a good 5-star general, I used Perplexity to help her out.
I didn't do it. Don't blame me.
Wait a minute. What's this you sent me about Swalwell? Are there accompanying details?
Apparently, the ethics committee is looking into him.
So then what happens?
Oh, the ethics committee, but they're saying he missed that filing deadline too to run for office. That apparently he won't be able to, but I mean, really, we'll just backdate it.
The one I want to see go down. I have 2.
Fauci?
No, I'm talking about in Congress. Jamie Raskin, Adam Schiff. Rock calls him Raskins. program. Look, if you are a common sense conservative like I am, look, I don't tell you I'm some rocket scientist. I don't have some direct line to the congressional whatever office on Capitol Hill. I'm not texting staffers. I've got one thing, and it's because I'm a mom, right? It's common sense. You can see things, you can smell things, you can feel things, you know things. They're indescribable, they're obvious things. You know when your kid's lying to you by and large. You know when a fast one's being pulled, right? Because your kids all think that you have no idea. You're like, you have no idea what. I was smoking cigarettes on the roof at your age, okay? I don't want to hear. And shoplifting from Sears, okay? I don't want to hear about it. And getting arrested, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, Michael Smerconish over at CNN, this is totally not on my bingo card. He sees what this president is doing with his Truth Socials, right? With his social account. He sees what he's doing as being methodical, as being directed towards manipulating Iran into doing exactly what the president wants. He's playing his trump cards. He's making threats. He's willing to fulfill those threats, but he talks about the bluster of war and he drops things like open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or what have you, where that civilization is going to end. Michael Smerconish, of all people in the media, sees exactly what this president is doing. And you need to hear this because he's been red-pilled. What happened to you? I'm delighted. I want you to hear this because I think now I've seen it all. On Never Trumper telling you the truth about Trump's strategy. In this audio soundbite number 1, Michael Smerconish, who hosts his own show on CNN, said this. Is Donald Trump a madman, or does he play that card to make things happen? He opens the door to some reporting done by the New York Times, giving a minute-by-minute play-by-play description about the decision between Trump and Netanyahu to bomb Iran, and then secret conversations between President Trump and his cabinet when Bibi Netanyahu was not at the table anymore. Michael Smerconish, CNN number 1.
A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person a lot on TV lives there. I'm Michael Smerconish in the Philly Burbs. Bill Maher said those words last spring after having dinner with President Trump at the White House. And then he added, which I know is effed up. It's just not as effed up as I thought it was. A hue and cry followed. Festivus ensued when Larry David satirized Maher in the New York Times under the headline, My Dinner with Adolf. And in a choice between two of my favorite comedians, I stood with Maher on the theory that it's better to have dialogue and to break bread than to demonize. Maher was mingling with the President of the United States, and guess what? When the dinner ended, he went right back on TV and continued his biting analysis of Trump. And of course, the President eventually took to Truth Social to hit back at Bill Maher. The Maher dinner has been on my mind this week, watching Trump's Truth Social posts amidst the war in Iran. You've seen them by now. Easter Sunday, open the effing straight, you crazy bastards. And then on Tuesday, a whole civilization will die tonight. The reaction at home was fierce, unhinged, screamed a Drudge headline. Others called for invocation of the 25th Amendment on the grounds that Trump had demonstrated he was unable to perform his duties. And Democrats, anticipating retaking the House in November, began using the I word, impeachment. Still, 90 minutes before Trump's Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern deadline, a 2-week ceasefire brokered by Pakistan was announced. And something else happened on Tuesday. The New York Times published a deep dive by Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, sharing reporting from their forthcoming book, Regime Change. This was a granular reconstruction of Trump's decision to go to war with Iran. For example, Haberman and Swan didn't just summarize what happened on February 11 when Benjamin Netanyahu came to the White House to sell an attack on Iran. They detail what was said by each participant in the Situation Room and also exactly where in the room everybody was seated. By this account, Netanyahu and Trump were aligned in hawkish thinking, but there was skepticism raised by Trump's team.
This is very interesting. When Netanyahu was out of the building, Trump's inner circle started telling him about their concerns about striking Iran. And those details, it's that we're learning. They're not because of a leak. It's because Michael Smerconish believes the administration wants the American people to know how Trump's decision to strike Iran really went down. Is he a crazy lunatic who's unhinged? Or is he a methodical person who weighs in all of the various perspectives of his inner circle to make the wisest, sanest, sagest decision possible?
The following day, when the Americans met without Israeli counterparts, CIA Director John Ratcliffe told Trump that Netanyahu's regime change scenarios were farcical. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said it's bullshit. Vice President J.D. Vance was the most doubtful of the group. Quote, nobody in Mr. Trump's inner circle was more worried about the prospect of war with Iran or did more to stop it than the vice president. General Kane, chair of the Joint Chiefs, said the Israelis, quote, oversell their plans and are not always well developed. Notably, by this account, Trump was dismissive of Kane's concern that the Strait of Hormuz might be blocked by Iran. And then, in the final days of February, new intelligence revealed that the Ayatollah would be meeting above ground with other top officials from the regime in broad daylight and wide open to air attack. The president gave Iran another chance to strike a deal, but Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner reported from Geneva that the Iranians were playing games. On February 26, another meeting in the Situation Room ensued, and during the course of an hour and a half, the president said he, quote, wanted to go around the table and hear everyone's views. Vance repeated that an attack on Iran was a bad idea, but that he'd support the president's position. After CIA Director Ratcliffe discussed the stunning intel that the Iranian leadership was about to gather above ground in broad daylight at the Ayatollah's compound, the White House counsel David Warrington offered the opinion that the plan being presented to the president was legally permissible. General Kane told Trump he needed to decide by 4 p.m. the following day. Aboard Air Force One the next afternoon, 22 minutes before Kane's deadline, Trump gave the order. Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck. I don't think that the Times reporting was a result of leaks. I think the administration wanted this story in the public domain. In contrast to those offensive and intemperate Truth Social posts, which were intended for Tehran, this window into pre-war decision-making was for the Americans.
That is the most important part. He gets it. Tucker Carlson doesn't get it. His Truth Social posts were meant for Tehran, not for you. This window into the decision-making, the pros, the cons, everybody at the table sharing their thoughts, that's for you. He finishes by saying, and again, this is Michael Smerconish from CNN, he says the madness, it's not about him being a madman. That madness is, in fact, Donald Trump's method.
This window into pre-war decision-making was for the Americans. It shows airing of competing views, some open to dissent, reliance on legal counsel, and a deliberative process, not the impulsivity with which Trump is so often associated. There's nothing in the Times behind closed doors account of an unstable Trump, at the same time that he was playing the madman card in public. You'd expect the guy that posts about a whole civilization dying would be simultaneously busting up the White House furniture. But there's never been any reporting of Trump like that behind closed doors. In other words, it's not that there's a method to his madness, it's that the madness is his method. The trouble for the president is that he may have played that role too often. During Trump 1.0, the world didn't know what to expect. There was the British ambassador to the U.S. who resigned in 2019 after memos that he's written to the mother country came to light. One of which he wrote said this: we don't really believe this administration is going to become substantially more normal, less dysfunctional, less unpredictable, less faction-riven, less diplomatically clumsy and inept. But now, writing in the Wall Street Journal, Peggy Noonan said she found the Truth Social posts horrifying, hitting a new bottom, and ineffective. The reason the madman theory worked for Richard Nixon, she wrote, if it did, was that world leaders knew he wasn't crazy, but might be tripped into extreme behaviors by an adversary's intransigence. Donald Trump plays the part of the madman every day. His head fake would be sanity. If his advisors thought this was a good negotiating tactic, Give them a little madman theory, Mr. President. They really are hicks. What the Haberman-Swan reporting ultimately reveals, much like what Bill Maher saw at dinner, is that Donald Trump is capable of exactly what his critics say he isn't: patience, process, and genuine deliberation. He went around the table. He heard the dissent. He consulted the lawyers. He made a hard call under enormous pressure, and 90 minutes before his own deadline, a ceasefire materialized. That's not nothing. And it's certainly not the behavior of someone who needs the 25th Amendment invoked or warrants impeaching.
Isn't that a refreshing, sage takeaway of what everything you and I have seen has been all about? I have been mystified for the longest time by people on the left who get their honeys in a bunch over everything this dude says. Every tweet, every truth, everything. And I was like, you guys are you crazy? Do you think you become a billionaire real estate mogul, land developer, businessman extraordinaire by being crazy? Now, here's the interesting part about the end, and I cut it off because I find it vexing. Michael Smerconish, after aptly assessing this president and his administration's decision, the process to do what they did in Operation Epic Fury, goes on to give the president a little of advice. Why do we think we need to give the president advice? Why do we think any of us needs to tell him how to behave? Oh, I don't like his mean tweets. Well, I think he's a little ghost. Did you see him in that tuxedo with King Charles? Oh, everybody wants to tell this dude what to do. How about we just do one thing and zip it and let the guy be the CEO of the USA? That's what I voted for. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, don't miss today's cherry on top. I'm going to try to give you one every single day. You know, this fight we're in is not about Iran or Russia or China or even the deep state. Anonymous has it for you. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I was shocked by that. I started listening and I was waiting for the punchline, right? I'm waiting for him to say, Michael Smerconish, to say something just abjectly angry. They have such a... What happens to the visceral reaction when, with the border closed, migration hopefully coming under some semblance of order, the carving out, the exposing of the fraud and the eliminating of people doing it. What happens when everything starts to settle and life is okay? Are these people going to be able to look back through the annals of history and be like, I was totally conned into thinking that he was a boob, and he's probably the best president of my lifetime? I'll say without question, totally best president of my lifetime. And I'm not sitting here like, well, there's some things I would do differently. Like, I don't know. How would I do that? Like, what? How does the dude sleep? I want to know how does he do it? Don't you, Brock? Do you think time travel does something so that you don't have to cash in on that much sleep?
I guess.
Let's see. I haven't been pimping and whoring it up here for the Rumbles. 2.56. Are there 130 people out there in the last 8 minutes who can hook a sister up? That's just this little thing underneath the video box. And hey, remember, you can follow us by clicking the follow button. And if you'd like our rundown, we charge $5 a month for it. It's every single day. It's great show prep for other hosts, I'm just going to tell you. And we put it up 4 hours, 5 hours before the show. So this is a huge risk. But it's a gamble I'm willing to make. But you can rumble. And let's see how many comments we have. 225. No, 305. Me. So you guys don't think Eric Swalwell is going to get the boot from Congress? I think he will. I think it's that egregious. I think the video beyond the rape alleged victim, it's the woman on the bed with him where he pulls her face. And I was just like, All women have had a weird creeper date like that where you're like,
well, here's the thing. They want to get rid of they were all up in arms about the guy from Texas. I don't disagree.
the guy from Texas.
The congressman from Texas, the girl had her to send in pictures and tried to.
I forget which one that is.
I can't remember what his name is. Either way, he didn't run for re-election, and they were all up in arms about him. Well, you can't be up in arms about him because he's a Republican and not Eric Swalwell. Like, it's what you can't have it both ways, Democrats.
Are you talking about Gary Hart?
No.
Oh.
No, that's recently.
Oh.
Recently.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Who's talking? Do you unite Madison Crawford?
No,
Cawthorn.
He was a...
Danae, you spelled that wrong, and I fell for it, you jerk. Right? Farmer Joe 51 really like your show. You should, Farmer Joe. Come on back. Come on back tomorrow. You think Eric Jones says, we'll get the boot. Who else? Wiener guy? No. No, he's still there. He's gross. He's running for freaking Senate. Isn't he? What's he running for? He's running for something. He's a state guy and he's just nasty. Gonzalez? No.
Yes. Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I haven't followed him. Have we talked about him?
I think we did.
Thousand feet and you look down on the landscape. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. And you see all of the things this president is doing. And you see the speed with which change is happening. JD Vance, the fraud stuff that's being cracked down on in California, that's going to have a ripple effect across the country. It just is. You see this president getting engaged in all of these various races that former presidents haven't even registered for, let alone trained for. They're not in the back like stretching. They're not like, maybe we should eat some pasta before the big race. I'm going back to my opening monologue about my son Ryan running in the Knoxville, Tennessee marathon yesterday. And he completed it. And he was disappointed that he got, within 8.5 miles of the finish line. And he's like, Mom, I can't do it. I can't run anymore. I'm going to finish it. But it's probably going to take me 5 hours. And I'm like, who cares? Whose race is it? Who are you competing against? You're not competing against, some guy who's, who runs like this all the time. You're proving to you that you can do this. But President Trump is engaged in all of these various battles. Because if not him, who? And if not now, when? When is that going to happen? Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the warrior? Who's the guy who doesn't need the money? Who doesn't care? He cares. He's got an ego. He cares. But he doesn't make it determine his moves. This president knows right from wrong. And that is this whole anonymous deep fake quotes video I want to leave you with. The cherry on top, to me, is when Anonymous comes out and says, this isn't a fight between the right and the left anymore. It's bigger than that. Listen.
Dear Democrat Party supporters who may be confused, I get it. You're watching all of this unfold, the shifting political landscape, Trump's growing support, and the rise of the new Republican Party, and you're wondering, what is happening? Let me be clear. The new Republican Party is not the old Republican Party. In fact, it doesn't even include many so-called Republicans, because they're part of the same corrupt system that has been stealing from you, lying to you, and keeping you distracted while they consolidate power. This isn't about party loyalty anymore. It's about freedom versus corruption. Ask yourself, how much more are you willing to overlook?
the stronger ones. This isn't about right versus left anymore. It's right versus wrong. Because there ought to be some things that overarchingly are so much more important than politics or party. And honesty is number one on my list. Look, a lot of people out there might not like the delivery of this president. But how did you like life under Joe Biden? You want to be upset about gas prices? Where were you for 4 years? Where were you then? And why is it now the media is so desperate to do whatever they can so that President Trump loses this war with Iran? Because no matter how you vote, if voting for America's demise is your jam, then you're going to be on the outs. This president running multiple marathons with Democrats charging him a tax for every mile, rules and regulations about how much water he can have on the way, and then bitching about the manner in which he crosses the finish line. You run, Mr. President. This is your race, and I'm cheering you on. Thank you for being a part of the Wendy Bell Radio program. I hope you come back tomorrow. I would love to spend more time with you. Love you guys. Peace.